Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, summer days and summer nights, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I am Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Danny to my Kanicki, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
And a big rest in peace to Miss Olivia Newton-John. Rest in peace, dear.
Yeah, shame she passed away today.
Yeah. I just saw the news maybe 2 or 3 hours ago.
Yeah, it's a shame. Apparently she'd been dealing with the big C for
years, decades apparently.
Yeah, so hopefully she got a lot of extra years and was able to enjoy them.
Yeah,
for all that extra time. But yeah, fuck cancer. God damn it, fuck cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But God, she was such a hottie in Greece.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Though I have a confession to make.
All right.
I was always partial to Grease 2 growing up.
Oh my God, Jesus.
I know it's blasphemy, but
oh my God.
Grease 2 was awesome. I always thought Grease 2 was awesome. Like every song in that movie is about fucking. Like it's like the horniest group of teenagers you've ever seen in your life. Well, teenagers. And Michelle Pfeiffer
over Olivia Newton-John?
Yes, for sure.
No way.
Nothing against, Olivia. But
no way.
All right, whatever.
No way.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, today, besides that other blasphemy, we're talking about Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Yet another Star Wars topic on the heels of last week when we talked about the Shadow of
the Sacred Jedi text,
the Shadow of the Sith book that we had just finished.
Yep.
As a lead-in to the Rise of Skywalker. So we wanted to kind of have a second look, or for me, a third look, I guess.
Yeah, but your first look in 2.5 years almost.
It was, yeah, since it has been in theater, because I had not seen it in quite some time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about it.
I'm really curious to see what your reaction is, because we've had no discussion about this prior to now, besides the fact that you mentioned, hey, I'm watching it on Thursday. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are or anything, so I'm curious where this conversation is going to go today.
Yep, and I will say, too, that I've gotten input from listeners and from others.
Okay.
That I've said, hey, what's your topic for this week? And I told them, and they're like, they had fairly strong opinions about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So, but before we get into that, we've got all kinds of business to get to. First of all, you've got a note in here. You wanna?
I do. 30 years ago today, 1992.
92.
94.
92. The Dream Team wins the gold medal in the Olympics. So I think as Gen Xers, or anybody that was around during the 90s remembers the Dream Team. They were every fucking where.
Oh yeah.
This was the first professional, or first time in the Olympics, or at least for basketball, that the professionals were allowed to play.
Yeah. And that was a big deal.
It was a big deal. And it was, how do we unleash, just like, hey, this is the United States. How are we going to dominate somebody so fucking significantly in one sport?
Yeah.
Let's just put the absolute best fucking basketball players of our time.
And you truly had them
on one fucking team. Let me read these names to you. Okay. It reads off of something like it was in a fucking video game. You had Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Clyde Drexler, Patrick Ewing, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Christian Laettner, Karl Malone, Chris Mullin, Scottie Pippen, David Robinson, the fucking Admiral, and John Stockton.
Yeah, that was a stacked fucking roster.
You're talking about up and down some of the best fucking basketball players on the just ever.
I don't know if you could put together a team of players past, present, or future that could beat that fucking team. Honestly. Like, could you pick anybody to put on that court against that roster of players?
I mean, I'm sure that there's probably people that are way smarter about basketball than us that could probably put together something statistically, but the sniff test for us, like for what the Dream Team represented, Like, and how, like, I remember they were doing commercials for fucking McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
They had the Happy Meals were fucking Dream Team Happy Meals. Like, it was a whole, they were everywhere.
And we don't talk about basketball much on the show, but back then in the late 80s, early 90s, I was a huge basketball fan. I actually watched basketball. I knew the rosters of the teams that weren't the Lakers. Like, I was pretty big into it until like the mid to late 90s. And that was like the peak of my basketball loving career, and it was like the perfect time.
Yeah,
and you knew all those fucking players and just how good they all were.
There's Duke fans in the chat that I mentioned the Christian Leitner. I'm not a Duke fan, as I have mentioned, because I am a Villanova fan.
Yeah.
And Duke can go ahead and suck a bag of dicks. And so can Christian Leitner, to be perfectly honest. And I'm sure he's a lovely human being, but no, sorry.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, can't believe that was 30 years ago, though.
30 years.
I remember it
30
clear as day.
years. Yeah, and you, like you said, you didn't have to be a basketball fan to really
I actually
recognize
had
the significance of it.
I actually had a mini framed poster of the Dream Team, too, hanging up on my wall for many a years.
Yeah, I had several Dream Team items, and to be honest, it was mostly because of Charles Barkley, because I was still a Barkley fan at that point because of him being with the Sixers.
Yeah,
so
he had only just left for Phoenix not too long.
Yeah,
before that.
So I was like, this was, kind of my fanboying for Barkley at the time. But that was kind of the last of the NBA anything that I really watched. College basketball for whatever, but.
Shaq going to the Lakers kept me watching basketball for a few more years. So, but that's a story for a different time.
It is.
Do we want to talk some Patreon?
You can.
All right. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to one of our patrons, Dragon Buddy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Also of the Escape Pod. And I just want to wish him a happy birthday today. And I think he's...
Happy birthday, Dragon Buddy.
Happy birthday, sir. Cheers.
We raise our Diet Dr. Thunders and Diet Cokes to you.
Fucking Diet Dr. Thunder. That's right. But happy birthday.
Diet Dr. Thunder got its own theme song. Dr. Thunder. Yeah.
I am totally going to clip that out of the fucking audio and put that as a drop. That was good. So yeah, happy birthday, Dragon Buddy. And we want to give a huge shout out to all of our current patrons: Shotgun Mark, Frank Kalevich, Frederick Martin, Lord Helmet Fire, Scott and Kim from the Use and Abuse podcast, Ivo G, Kristen Roscom, Nick from Sweet Studios, Catherine Rennick, my wonderful mother-in-law, Patricia Goodstein, who is departing New Jersey this week. Sad face.
Oh.
Don Solsky, Nicholas Schaefer, David Schmuck, Wally Frogmore, Tony Ferrari, Brady Big Lovin', and of course the before-mentioned Dragon Buddy. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to consider becoming a Patreon supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this. What?
I just, the snaps. It's still...
It's them. I want to acknowledge them and let them know that they're important.
But no, if you're new to the show, let's say you just started listening to the show, they'd be like, why is he snapping? It's weird.
If that's the only thing that they're questioning, like, why are they doing that? Why do they say 94 all the time? 94. You know, you're gonna have a whole laundry list of why.
This is true.
Why are they saying these things and doing these things? It's our thing. It's what we do.
Log into the chat. Get on Facebook and get into our Facebook group and play the drinking game.
Yeah,
it'll help you understand.
Or not. Whatever.
Yeah.
You got anything Red 5 to talk?
For Red 5 headlines. We want to wish a happy birthday to Red 5 Network brothers Aaron Julian from WSTR Media and the aforementioned Dragon Buddy.
All right, can we stop sucking Dragon Buddy's dick already?
I'm just doing the read, Jason.
All right, I know it's his birthday, but fuck, he didn't like win the Medal of Honor or anything.
Factually correct. But I am just doing the read.
All right, keep going.
That's it. That's all I have for the Red 5 headlines.
Yeah.
More Red 5 news after the show.
All right, very good. So you had something else you wanted to throw out there before we get to our weeks.
So Scott from the Used and Abused podcast sent me something over Facebook Messenger before the show started. And I think it was deliberate to have
just to get you maybe a little spun up right before we go live.
Just so I have something to fucking just tweak my nipples a little bit. So apparently there's this show called Stranger Things, right?
I've heard of it.
And I think our friends from the Escape Pod and Lunar Girl do Stranger Things podcast.
C.
3PO. Which the name of is escaping me right now, as I even pattern delaying, and I can't think of it. It is called Stranger Things Has Happened. So,
strange things are happening to me. Strange things. You from Toy Story?
I know, but
you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
You need to work on your like your voice. It's got
my voice is what it is, Dave. I can't fix it or change it. This is what you're stuck with.
But you're trying. That's what's important. So some Stranger Things fans are now trying. This is the headline, okay? Off of loudwire.com. Some Stranger Things fans are now trying to cancel Metallica. Twitter reacts. Okay, this was published today.
Okay.
A group of Stranger Things viewers has turned against Metallica in an attempt to cancel the veteran metal band after learning more about their past.
Oh boy.
Metallica got a big boost in popularity last month like they needed it.
Yeah.
It's fucking Metallica.
Yeah.
They have their own bourbon. Metallica got a big boost in popularity last month when one of their songs appeared in Netflix's Stranger Things 4. That's why I don't watch that fucking show. But as the latest clash of heavy metal and cancel culture, the backlash was kicked up in a viral video last week by a TikTok user named Serena Trueblood. The influencer hosts a series of clips on social media called Is Your Fave Problematic that covers many music artists. My fucking God.
My eyes can't roll back any farther into my head right now.
I'm already looking at the back of my fucking skull. Watch her latest down the bottom. Some commenters on Trueblood's Metallica installment responded with regret for recent Metallica purchases. They appear to be some of the new listeners spurred by the Stranger Things inclusion of Metallica's Master of Puppets in a crucial scene. On TikTok as well as Twitter, others defended the band. In July, Metallica categorically welcomed their new fans. But what even is cancel culture? AP News deems the term a buzzword that creates more confusion than clarity, before describing it as a mechanism where a chorus of voices amplified on social media tries to silence a point of view that they find offensive by trying to damage or destroy the reputation of the person who has given offense.
Right. So what did they say? What?
Dictionary.com calls it the popular practice of withdrawing support for, quote, canceling, end quote, public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. However, I'm getting to that. However, it's described in her clip, Trueblood presses Metallica for their past actions, caught on photo or video, including members such as former bassist Jason Newsted, appearing to do Nazi salutes. She also shows footage where Metallica make fun of the death of Kurt Cobain after Nirvana singer's 1994 suicide. One includes Megadeth's Dave Mustaine, but he was already out of Metallica at the time. Trueblood also claims Metallica singer James Hetfield kept Ice-T's body count off a 1992 Metallica tour with Guns N' Roses due to hip-hop artist race. She includes a classic MTV News clip suggesting the source of the rumor as Guns N' Roses' Axl Rose. Oh my fucking God.
So because of a rumor from 1993.
94.
Because of a rumor from 93, that's worth canceling Metallica now.
Naturally, Metallica fans on Twitter reacted in droves to Trueblood's video. One tweet summarized the fact Metallica welcomed and defended all new fans that came from Stranger Things fandom, and they've gone and thrown it back in their faces. But another seemed to counter and supported Trueblood's take. Metallica fans proving their racist LMAO.
Proving.
All right, search Metallica canceled, all about racism, etc.
Proving.
Plenty in rock and metal have spoken out against cancel culture, blah, 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 blah. I cannot.
This is the world we live in now, Dave. That's the problem. This is the world we live in now because
I can't listen. I cannot. If I get any, I am fucking speechless at the level of idiocy that has become of this. All right, some fucking idiot, that's an influencer.
Which is
What is the definition of a fucking influencer?
That means you have like.
Are we influencers? Can we put that on our fucking resumes? Are we influencers? Are we influencing you?
Apparently, you just have to have a significant number of social media following.
Let me go ahead and influence you, listeners, and help me out here by saying that these fucking idiots that are deeming themselves influencers and honestly the reporters that fucking give them those titles.
Oh yeah, no, it's these media outlets are just as guilty as all these morons on Twitter.
Yeah, you're giving them this platform. Like, and then you're putting something in print that's basically saying, repeating the idiocy. Yeah. Right? Because you're validating it, but even though you might be saying like, look, I'm putting it out there because it's so ridiculous. No, it's all propaganda. It can be turned one way or the fucking other. That's how propaganda works.
Yeah.
So by you putting it out there, just because you think, oh, look, I'm putting this out ironically. No, you're not. It doesn't matter. Because you put this shit out there at all, it's going to be fucking used against you. And the fact that in 1986 or 87, when Metallica was a fucking heavy metal band, not this fucking bunch of old guys playing, oh, it's hard rock now. It's a metal band. Mm-hmm. For fuck's sake. Why don't you go after Ozzy Osbourne for fucking biting the head off a bat? Where's Peter? Like, oh, he shouldn't have done that. Oh my god. Where are all these motherfuckers? Cancel everybody. No, oh fuck, I killed a lantern bug or lantern fly. Fucking, the one that's getting ready to tear up all the fucking trees and shit around here. Like, oh my god, what's happening? Well, and the murder of all these flies.
And that's the biggest thing with this cancel culture or whatever it's called. It's one thing.
Speaking of fly,
it's one thing to today tell somebody who's doing whatever, like, hey, probably shouldn't say that. Not the most PC thing to say today. As opposed to going back 30 or more years and looking at the sacred archives and being like, where can I find something that somebody did that today we would never stand for, but back then, it might have been acceptable. But that's what we're going to cancel somebody for. Because
I go back a couple years to when the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Yankees both, and I don't like the Yankees as an organization to begin with, but the Flyers jumped on board with this idiocy and they stopped playing God Bless America from an artist that did something in the fucking in the 30s, something that was recorded in the 30s, that yes had racial overtones, and it was recorded in the 30s, but without any, let's not actually reference what time that period that was done. Let's not look at any of that. Let's just take the fact that fucking there's no application of like, here's your frame of reference, right? It's just like, this is what the activism is for me right now. And it's fucking ridiculous. And it's this train that is just going to keep fucking trucking. And whether it's Metallica or anything else, the only reason I was worked up is because it's a fucking heavy metal band. It's a heavy metal band. Mm-hmm. Listen to the fucking song One. Listen to that song. Like, and then listen to the lyrics of that song. What's that about? It's an anti-war song. About somebody who got their fucking arms and legs blown off in Vietnam. Like, are we going to talk about that? Or are we going to talk about a fucking, what could be construed as a fucking Nazi potential fucking Hitler salute?
By a guy that's not even in the band anymore.
Yeah. In a fucking, on a video.
Yeah.
Really? And then people are going to follow you because you have deemed them an influencer.
Right.
It's not even her fault at that point. You have given her this title. You've given her this title of influencer. Oh, you are an influencer, so what you say has impact.
Well, and
go forth and impact people.
And let's be honest.
With your fucking idiocy.
A majority of the people who dogpile and do this whole canceling thing, I guarantee you they don't actually believe what they're saying. They do it for the attention. That's why this new generation that lives on TikTok and Twitter do the things that they do. They do it for attention, and that's it. They don't believe in the shit that they're saying. They just think it's going to get them some social credibility. So, whatever.
See this book?
Yes.
See this book?
Yes.
This is the book I'm getting ready to read here. I'm going to try and read while I'm doing my schoolwork. This is something that in the DoD, it's one of our CSAF reading materials, talking about what is happening with this fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
And
it's no fucking coincidence either.
Nope.
That the fucking this stupid nonsense in America is getting pushed to the forefront of everybody's TikTok feed, while in China, all of their kids' TikTok feeds are full of science and math and videos like that.
Yeah, wonder why.
Yeah,
wonder why. Oh, fuck you, fuck these influencer titles. Yeah, I just. What was the other thing? What was the thing I told you?
Mount Rushmore is canceled now too. Yeah, ESPN no longer wants to refer to Mount Rushmore. Like who's your Mount Rushmore of NFL players? Because Mount Rushmore is offensive.
Right.
So,
you know what's offensive? Fucking ESPN is offensive.
Yeah.
ESPN's offensive, and I'm going to fucking cancel it off of my triple play because I don't get anything out of it.
Yeah. All right, can we move on from this, please? We're bringing down the mood here.
The mood's not going to get much better once we get into this fucking movie.
What? All right, well, I'm going to bring up the mood at least temporarily.
All right.
Because it is now time to add to
the sacred Jedi.
So, got a new Black Series figure this week, and this one might be my favorite Black Series figure, period, to date.
Really?
Yeah. I'm buying another one of these just so I can open it and play with it. That's how good it is. But for those of you who listened to the show back when we were all things Star Wars and we were doing a lot of comic books, you may remember a character from the comics, from the Star Wars comics, a stormtrooper named Sergeant Creel. Remember him?
Wow, look at
Fought
that.
Luke. He had the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Now, and you could probably recognize the scene there. But yeah, he was a stormtrooper, but he had a lightsaber that he had stolen from somebody.
Right.
But you look at the fucking figure itself. Look at how beautiful that thing is.
This whole fucking presentation is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that is my favorite Black Series figure. I love the red shoulder pad with the Empire logo.
Yeah.
Oh, so amazing. So let me show the peeps at home real quick.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
So
that is fucking awesome.
Yeah, if you open this up, you can, I don't know how easy you can see it on camera, but he's a stormtrooper, but he's got that red shoulder pad that's got the Empire logo on it. Oh, it's so sweet. He comes with a green lightsaber too. I mean, we love troopers on this show as it is, but this one is probably the best. I'm definitely buying another one. I got this one on eBay for like $35 too. So I think it just came out. Super, super cool though. Love it. And that is my Black Series figure of the week. Besides that, what else do I have going on? Oh, I mentioned last week that they're doing the Narshada nightlife event in the Old Republic.
Yep.
I've been playing that. I've gotten almost everything from it already, even though it's going for a month. Like I hit it pretty hard the first 2 nights, like sitting in front of the slot machines, just and got almost all of the jackpots I wanted. I'm just missing 1 mount, and it's just a matter of how much money do I want to sink into this. In-game money, not real money.
Obviously.
But yeah.
Aren't you a billionaire in game?
Yeah, I was up to 3 billion and now I'm down to 2 billion. So I put a lot of money into these slot machines. Are there a lot of slots on Narshada? There's so many slots you won't know what to do.
Why is Big Lovin' online and not watching the show right now?
What do you mean online?
I just got an Xbox notification that said Big Lovin' is online.
He'd rather play the Xbox than watch us.
Sons of bitches.
All right, I'll remember that on Wednesdays.
Just call them
out. Besides that, so for the last couple of weeks, I was really getting back into the gym. You know, for people who've listened to us for any amount of time, I was a pretty big gym rat a year ago before I hurt my shoulder and before that.
Yeah.
And, you know, my shoulder's been feeling okay lately, so I've been going back to the gym. I was going pretty well for like 2 to 3 weeks recently. And then last week, after my retirement went through, I just hit a point where I'm just like, I'm just not going to do it. And I haven't been to the gym in like 5 days now. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm at a crossroad right now where it's like, I'm going to completely fucking give up now that I'm out of the military and I have no obligation to do anything as far as taking care of myself. Or I'm going to know I got to continue doing this, got to keep beating back death one day at a time, and continue on with my plan to live forever. So I don't know, but it's tough. It's really tough to find the motivation right now when I don't have to.
Well, and I think it's tough because of the way you were doing it too, man. Like, because you were going so hard into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So smooth.
And I finding that a middle ground for where you can go to the gym and exercise for your fitness level and not necessarily like be going in for, I don't know, like managing your gains and your expectations. I think
Sure.
yeah, you could still be going in there to maintain your fitness and not stand in front of the mirror and like, where's my measurable results?
Yeah.
Which is what I think you were going for before.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that expectation, just, you have to change that somehow.
Yeah.
You still could build the gym in your fucking garage like you were talking about, and you could just, you know.
Well, and you know, that's a part of the issue too, is I always go like early in the morning, like before work, mostly because I just don't want to work out around other people. I like going when the gym is empty,
Right.
and I don't have to fucking look at other people, and I don't have to think other people are looking at me and judging me, even though I know they're probably not. It's still, I just don't want to be around people. And I know I can go to the gym in the afternoons after work when I'm not so fucking tired and not kill myself, but at the same time, I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the personal gym that I need to focus on.
Yeah, maybe.
The at home.
I know I'm supposed to help me sleep. I'm supposed to be working out at night, which is it was just counterintuitive, because I was always told before you shouldn't exercise right before bed because that would keep you up.
I could see that because you've got the adrenaline pumping and everything.
Yeah,
but
there, you know, I've been told that I need to try something else because of whatever. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like finding the middle ground, you know, and being able to manage those expectations. Like I really like Swede's been fucking, you know, doing the mountain biking bit, and I love to get back on the mountain bike and do something like that, but now it comes down to time management again, right? Because I'm in class and I got so much reading, and I'll get to that.
Well,
but
that's the end of my week, so that would be a great transition, actually.
Yeah,
to roll right into yours.
So I'll go out of order of my notes, but you know, I put it, so it begins again. You know, the worst thing you can do when you're in school is take a semester off, and that's what I did, and it was needed because if I had tried to push through a semester while I was on break and then my grandmother passed, it wouldn't have went well. So started my new semester, and this teacher is fucking got an amazing resume, and I'm not going to be able to bullshit this guy. So there's a lot of reading. It's fucking fascinating subject.
What is the subject?
It is. What's the title of this fucking class? Hang on. I mean, obviously, it's part of my human factors degree, and it is called. What the fuck? Why are you not right there? Oh, it's right there. Human performance limitations and error. So,
is this just related to aviation?
No, it could be for anything.
So smooth.
That's where my head went.
Nice. But honestly, it's about a lot of what the class is geared toward is identifying, like, say in like an aviation accident, like, okay, what human performance factors were involved in this particular accident, and quantifying some of that data. And so they're using different tools, and like it gets into the depths of those particular things. And by understanding kind of what causes some of these accidents, then you can start to, model things against that, so you can recreate that, which is really interesting because right now, like the Air Force has this idea of flying airplanes with a single pilot. And
what?
Yeah, it's
that aren't fighters.
Facts, and it's a real thing, and it's an idea, and they float it out there, and they're trying to save money, and it makes for an interesting discussion for in a field like mine, because it's like they didn't design airplanes for that.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good idea. So,
I mean, unless you're going with that like fully automated theory and just the pilots there as backup.
Yeah, but yeah, the airplanes that we're flying right now that were built in 1957.
Oh, those aren't flying by themselves.
No, they're not.
Wait, no. You're not talking about them.
They're talking about, well, they're even the airplanes that were built fucking in the past 10 years, you can't do that.
No.
If you'd have to start today to design something, and anything we design today, it's going to take fucking a decade for that thing to actually roll out and actually be usable.
Yeah.
So, and even then it may be a fully autonomous vehicle at that point would make more sense than having a single pilot option for something heavy. But
yeah,
I don't want to, I could do a whole podcast on just fucking aviation shit.
Yeah. Dave and I are big, former aviators, and
yeah. So, but that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. Lots of reading and paper writing and stuff is in my future.
Hooray!
But I got to work out. I still have to find time. I just have to. And I'll figure it out.
Something might just have to fall off.
Something. I don't know what.
Might have to stop volunteering for all this extra shit.
I haven't been. I've been throttling back, if you can believe it.
Good.
As much as I possibly can.
All
So,
right.
I think we had I think I posted it on in Discord, or maybe for the patrons. I posted this picture of my cousin and I. This is a young Dave and Frederick Martin, Patreon supporter Frederick Martin, in 1983. 83. This is when Return of the Jedi came out. And so I was Luke, obviously, from Return of the Jedi. And my cousin Rick was fucking He-Man.
Both huge in
Yeah.
83.
Yep.
So makes sense.
This is this picture came out when my cousins were going through some of my grandmother's stuff, and they found, I don't know if you can read it, but this is in my grandmother's writing. Basically, the picture was taken out in front of my parents' house, or my house growing up.
October of 83. Son of a bitch.
So I saw that, and then I saw this pop, right, of Luke Skywalker, and I'm gonna open it because this is gonna be displayed here in the studio.
It's for display only. He's opening a pop. Wow.
So we got our Luke Skywalker here, our hooded Luke Skywalker.
Yep.
Right?
ROTJ, or is that from The Mandalorian?
This is from The Mandalorian.
Ah, very nice.
So it just by happenstance it had come out, right?
It's the same outfit he had on.
And then we got a He-Man.
Hey man, hey man.
Opening another pop, throwing it around.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
I don't know. It's hard to. I'm not used to opening these things. So, what we're gonna have in the studio is we'll have a little recreation of the picture in pops.
That's
Because
pretty
I thought
awesome.
It was cool. So,
Fucking sweet.
there's that. There's a picture of me and Rick.
Another reason why Gen X really is the greatest generation.
Look at that. I just thought it was cool. When I saw the Luke, I'm like, man, now I need to get a He-Man. Now, the original Pop He-Man is like fucking ridiculous, like expensive. Like,
Yeah.
It's at like,
Like not this one?
not this one. This is I don't know. This is a more recent one, 2020. The OG one is like, I think it was going for a few $100s. Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But the original one had the He-Man's what's the name of the sword? Shit,
Did it have a name?
I thought it had a name. Anyway, the
Pulled
sword.
off my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull." I don't think the sword had a name.
I thought the sword had a name, but regardless, the sword was in this basically the same position
Yeah.
as Rick was holding it. But yeah, I can't spend that much money on a pop. I just can't. I would have had to have sold fucking Thrawn to afford that.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have taken it out of the box. It would have defeated the whole purpose. But yeah,
I think this still will work just fine.
yeah, it will do fine.
Credits will do fine.
But yeah, there we go. So yeah, it made me happy. It was one of those things where like, this is make good use of the pop, and give me an excuse to take him out of the box.
Yep. And Frederick says the Sword of Grayskull was the name of the power sword.
Right. Thank you. I'm glad you were in the chat to see it. So lastly, I won't mention this bit.
Okay.
But lastly, yesterday, again, talking about something sports related, but Pete Rose was at Citizens Bank Park yesterday.
I heard about that.
Yes. So apparently it was the first time he had been on the field in a Phillies uniform since 1981.
Mm.
And he got special dispensation from the commissioner of baseball to be able to be on the field for the recognition of, because the Phillies did their recognition of the 1980 World Championship team.
Ah, okay.
So he was on the field with the rest of the 1980 team. The Phillies do an alumni weekend, so that all the games they had in this homestand, they were doing something like they do their Wall of Fame induction is usually this weekend, and so forth and so on. They didn't do one. They did 2020s. They did it kind of virtually. They didn't do one in 21 because of COVID, and then in 2022 they just did it. Bake McBride and I forget the other guy, but yeah, so it was really cool that the fans that were there. I expected it to be a little bit more crowded, to be honest, but the fans that were there, gave him the standing O.
Yeah.
It was. Me personally, I mean, the guy is he's the greatest hitter in baseball. He has the most hits.
And that still hasn't been broken, huh? Because I remember when he broke that way back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember that was huge news back in the fucking 80s when he did that.
Yeah. It is a record that is unbroken, and honestly, I mean, because of the longevity of these players, they're not playing as long as a guy like a Pete Rose did. So
that is true.
It's going to be really hard to break a record like that.
Because wasn't he, at the end of his career, wasn't he both a manager and a player for the Reds?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember thinking that was weird, even as a kid. Like, the manager is also a player?
Yeah, he was the guy, like in Philly, he was the perfect guy to put on a team like that. Like, that 1980 team that had, like, Mike Schmidt is my favorite player of all time. And he was, I mean, to me, the best third baseman of all time, right? By far.
Mm.
And his home run ability, and you had 2 home run hitters on that team. You had just a really good team, and then you put a Pete Rose on that team, and you put that energy. Like the guy he just ran through walls, literally. Head first sliding and just always being there where you're supposed to be, and getting to balls that others weren't going to get to. And he played his position, and he did everything at 1,000%. And in Philly, that's how you win. That's how you win people over. Like, you're not going to, every day is not going to be the best day, but if you go and you fucking run through a wall for somebody and your fucking helmet flies off and you're all fucking dirty and then you're going to the city's going to appreciate that. And, Pete, he's not my favorite player, but I still think, given some of the things that people have done in the majors, I think that Pete Rose, the consideration should still be for the Hall of Fame because his record still stands.
Yeah, I think it's been long enough now too. Because didn't that happen in like the early '90s?
Yeah,
when he got caught, it's like, okay, we get it. Like, just overturn it now before he fucking dies, because
or let's just do it post. Yeah, it's a shame, but yeah. So I got a handful of pictures and was so fucking hot at the stadium.
It's been hot lately.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool to be at the ballpark and see him there, and really cool to see the fans, appreciate him being there too.
Yeah,
I would love to have seen like maybe some of the interviews afterwards. I think the best part of him being there, like me looking at him through the camera lens, was as they were leaving the field and in the pregame ceremony. As they're leaving the field, the Washington Nationals were the team they were playing, and those players were like coming up to him and like talking to him, and they got their picture taken. Like all these players were like getting selfies with him and everything else like that. Like he is a baseball guy, like, and he'll talk baseball with any one of those guys, and he knows things about hitting that his knowledge level is still there, and he still follows the game. So yeah, it's a shame. I like to see him go into the hall before he passes, but
It is.
It is what it is. I'm glad I got to see him now.
Yep.
But it was cool. So that's it's my week.
All right. Do we need a break, or do we want to get right into the main topic?
I'm good.
All right. So we are talking some Rise of Skywalker. I like to call this one pandemic later, because Rise of Skywalker came out December of 19, and we all remember a little thing called COVID-19 hit these shores that next March. So we didn't have a whole lot of time to digest Rise of Skywalker before it became a COVID world, and everything else kind of went to the background. Then we went into this weird time bubble, and now here we are,
right?
Somehow 2.5 years later, and it's like, oh fuck it, we did the Shadow of the Sith novel last week,
right?
Which very seamlessly flowed right into Rise of Skywalker. So we figured, fuck it, our topic for this week got kind of shifted due to world circumstances. So we're like, all right, let's adjust. We'll do Rise of Skywalker this week. It'll be a great thing to follow that fucking Shadow of the Sith book, because I think there were a lot of things in Shadow of the Sith that we never got a chance to talk about during that actual episode that maybe will come up as we're talking about Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, you took how many pages of notes?
I took 4 pages of notes. So, and this is the thing too. I'm like, I'll just rewatch it, and we'll just kind of wing it and do whatever. So Kristen and I watched it on Saturday night, and we just sat there on the bed, watched it start to finish, and then I'm like, well, I should take some notes. So Kristen's at work on Sunday. I'm doing a bunch of laundry and shit around the house. So as I'm hitting the slots in Nar Shaddaa, I turn on Rise of Skywalker on another screen, and I watch the whole thing, and I'm taking notes. And I come to find out I took 4 pages of fucking notes, and I'm ready to talk some Rise of Skywalker.
Hitting the slots of Nar Shaddaa.
Yeah. I've been all about Star Wars lately too. And it's certainly showing in our topics recently, but Yeah,
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, no, I've been deep in the universe lately. So between
Yeah.
the sacred Black series, playing the Old Republic, watching the movies, reading the books, it's it's like the old days of ATSW.
Yeah, no shit.
So as shown by your shirt.
Yes.
So
The OG.
indeed. Now, just to refresh everybody's memory, this is the first time that you've watched Rise of Skywalker since we saw it in the 4DX in January of 20.
Correct.
Right? So you had your thing where you didn't really want to acknowledge the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
You didn't really kind of want to watch it, so you just avoided it for years.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we had access to it, when it had come out on via iTunes digitally and via Bluetooth, Blu-ray,
Yeah.
and Bluetooth and Blue Whale and however
And Disney Plus.
and Disney Plus and whatever. I just chose to not watch it, and it was more. I talked about it on the show before. It was much more about this feeling of not wanting this thing called Star Wars to have that feeling of it being over.
Right.
And it was a lot less about how it ended, just the fact that it was over. And that was the part that had kept me away from it for so long. And I just avoided it. And it's not like I didn't watch Star Wars. I mean, I watched the OG trilogy. I've watched fucking the prequels. I've watched, Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Last Jedi though. I've not. I've watched Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I've watched Star Wars, and I've obviously been involved in Star Wars. It's not that I have been avoiding Star Wars. I've just been avoiding this capstone, if you will, of the Skywalker saga.
All right. And so much to get into. So before we get into your thoughts and feelings, I wanted to kind of look back at how everything kind of settled, finance wise, critic wise, and all of that. So first I wanted to look at the financials. So how did it do? Because when we did our episodes talking about Rise of Skywalker, the final numbers weren't out yet. So we don't know, or we didn't at the time know how successful it was going to be. Profit wise, because you can look at box office numbers, but those are always like super inflated. The way the movie companies do it now, they calculate worldwide box offices, and it's like, oh, we made $385 bajillion.
Right.
But you factor in, the budget, marketing costs, and the cut that the fucking theaters get, and profit wise, it can still be pretty low, which is, you'll see a good example of that when we talk about Solo, but net profit for Rise of Skywalker, $300 million for Disney. So not bad, right? $300 million profit after all of your expenses and everything.
Right.
Pretty good return on your investment, I'd say.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, but you compare it to The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens, which was a fucking phenomenon. Net profit, $780 million. Because it made like a couple billion at the worldwide box office and all that. But at the end of the day, Disney pocketed $780 million.
Wow.
Off of The Force Awakens. That's insane. And now you compare it to Rise of Skywalker, which is all the way down to $300 million. So pretty substantial drop, but that always happens too with trilogies and series, unless you're talking Avengers.
No. We cannot. You cannot discount the fact that you put the numbers up here for Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Last Jedi pocketed $417 million.
Yes.
And then Rise of Skywalker's $300 million.
Yeah. So it was a drop for each one.
The drop was, and I cannot discount enough the fact that there was people that came out of Last Jedi disenfranchised with how the movie and how the franchise was being treated.
Oh, absolutely.
Or treated is not necessarily the right word. I'm struggle to find the right word, but I think a lot of us, and you can listen to our previous episodes, it was just one of those things where the fuck is happening with this right now?
Yeah.
Like what the repeat audience that is going and watching The Force Awakens in the theater. Fucking how many times did we go see it in the theater?
I saw it at least 4 times in theaters.
Yeah, I think we both saw it 4 times in theaters.
Yeah. And I wanted to see it again too before it left, but just didn't have the chance.
Yeah, it just ran out.
Because we were pretty busy that year at work, from what I recall.
It was a busy year, and it was a struggle to get there 4 times, but we did it.
Yeah, and loved every minute of it, every single time we did. Last Jedi, I begrudgingly saw it a second time, only because I already had tickets to go see it a second time. Didn't really want to, but did. Rise of Skywalker, I was, but again, we'll get into our thoughts on that. But it was, the Last Jedi really killed a lot of that goodwill and killed a lot of that repeat viewing, because not a lot of people said, oh yeah, fuck, got to see that again. No.
And a lot of people went to see The Last Jedi because of The Force Awakens.
Yep.
The hope of what was to come, and then that hope was lost for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And those of us that had the hope that it could be salvaged, or those of us that were just diehards and we're going to watch anything that's Star Wars, whether we like it or not, then we're going to watch it anyway because it's Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we cannot discount the fact that The Last Jedi exists, and maybe we don't want it to.
Yeah. Just real quick to finish off the financial part. Rogue One made $320 million in profit. So Rogue One, which came out the year after The Force Awakens, still riding that fucking high wave. Decent amount of profit, obviously less than The Force Awakens, but still a fucking great moneymaker. Actually ended up making more than Rise of Skywalker profit-wise. So something to keep in mind. But Solo, at the end of the day, lost $77 million. Yeah. And that's why you really got that kind of panic button, and why they stopped Star Wars movies. Because, I mean, Rise of Skywalker was already in production. It was already coming. There was no way to stop that after Solo. But there hasn't been anything since. Because they know they fucked up with Solo. And they know they fucked up the end of the sequel trilogy. And they had all these fucking movies planned in some form of development. And they're just like, time out. We gotta reassess this whole fucking thing. Because apparently we can't just throw shit against the wall and assume that it's going to stick, because, it didn't.
Yeah.
And not to really say anything bad about Solo. We talked about it. It was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike it, but at the same time, I can certainly see why people didn't come out in droves to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talk about repeat viewings. I mean, we saw it in the theater once.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw it a second time. We saw it together the one time.
Yeah. I didn't see it in the theater again. I mean, I saw it at home once, or maybe twice.
Yeah, and that's another one that we need to take another look back at some point. Yeah. And
it's like you said, it's not so god awful. It's like it's not pissing in your face,
right?
Like The Last Jedi felt like it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just not like, oh, it's just right in your fucking eye, motherfucker.
Yeah,
take it.
And you're gonna open your mouth. Yeah, you're gonna open your mouth and you're gonna.
Right.
I'm gonna piss on you.
Drip, drip, drip.
Yes, I do. I'll piss on you. I'll pee on you. And so profit wise, you could see where Disney was really kind of getting a little fucking skittish, because Solo lost them money, and Rise of Skywalker didn't make them nearly as much as any of the other movies that came out before it. So that is something to keep in mind. Critic wise, at the time, I think critics were just kind of lukewarm on it,
AKA influencers.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I don't take anything that the fucking critics say seriously anymore, because just like everybody else, now the critics all have an agenda. So
well, this made me feel a little funny, so I'm gonna
yeah.
make sure
So I don't give critics any validity, but it is interesting to compare what they said about Rise of Skywalker to the other Star Wars movies. So looking at Rotten Tomatoes, 52% with critics for Rise of Skywalker. That's pretty poor. But audiences gave it an 86%.
Mm-hmm.
So audiences didn't dislike it, at least the ones that responded to the Rotten Tomatoes, user reviews.
Right.
Then you compare that to The Last Jedi, complete flip-flop. Critics loved it, 91%, but the people hated it, 42%. So a complete shift in who liked and disliked it. Compared to The Force Awakens, 93 with critics, 85 with viewers. So Force Awakens, like we said before, made all the money, was well loved all the way around. Which it just makes me so mad when I see these fucking YouTubers and these people that like their whole platform is just to hate on anything and everything Star Wars or any kind of pop culture, because they put Force Awakens in that fucking bucket, and it makes me so angry because I just rewatched Force Awakens over the weekend too, as I was watching Rise of Skywalker, and it's still great.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Oh, it's just a copy of the original. Fuck you.
Yeah,
fuck you. It was a fantastic movie.
Star Wars is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Why not make another one?
Right.
Why not do it again?
Yeah.
Like, the fucking, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I have no problem at all with making fucking Star Wars A New Hope 2.0.
Yeah.
And I did. I enjoyed the shit out of that. And I, like you, on Thursday when I was trying to work and chasing fucking demonic puppy, I started with TFA. I put Force Awakens on.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let me put this on. And, I enjoyed that. And I went right into Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like, deliberately. Because what I wanted to see is if by bypassing The Last Jedi, bypassing that entire plot line, does Rise of Skywalker still make sense?
Sure.
Do I need to have seen The Last Jedi? Like, is everything going to like overlap? Does everything kind of click and make sense? And I will say, for the most part, it doesn't need The Last Jedi.
No,
it really doesn't. And that, to me, it shows what a huge, just odd speed bump The Last Jedi really was. Because if in a normal course of a Star Wars trilogy, just a Star Wars trilogy, you're not going to have such a huge deviation in a story to come back from.
No, and that, again, we've said this many, many times, that goes back to the people at Lucasfilm, and with Kathleen Kennedy at the head, being like, we're going to make a new trilogy. You get to make one part of it, you get to make another part, and you get to make another part. Go make your individual movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Like, and it's so evident. And especially like The Last Jedi, and by the time you get to Rise of Skywalker, for all intents and purposes, Rise of Skywalker is a fucking mess. It's a mess of a fucking story that they threw together at the last fucking minute to try to course correct what the fuck had happened with The Last Jedi and everything. And it shows. It shows. It's still, to me, it's still a watchable movie. Far more watchable than The Last Jedi. But it shows that they were going in the right direction, and then they went, ugh! And then we got overcorrect. So you had two just massive fucking swerves and just this jumble of shit that they tried to make sense in a very short amount of time. Because you can't forget, too, that they fucking fired the guy who already had the story and was already in pre-production for episode 9 when, all of this went down. They fucking fired him, and they're like, all right, we gotta fucking course correct. JJ, we need you back to do this. And oh, by the way, you get no extra time. You are still releasing this December of 2019, and it's January of 18. Go. And that's fucking what they did. And they had to throw together this fucking Star Wars movie in a year and a half, and trying to course correct for all of the shit that happened with The Last Jedi.
I am going to give a very unpopular opinion.
Okay.
Right now.
All right.
And I say it's unpopular because of the feedback that I've gotten from many people about the Rise of Skywalker and what a mess it is, right? And there's a lot of people that just say it's a piece of shit movie. And what I say to that is you take a different outlook on it when you dig deeper And I would have to agree, if you're just casually in the Star Wars universe and you're only following things, like if the Last Jedi is your only introduction into what the Rise of Skywalker would be, then yes, you're absolutely right, because you're basically on a roller coaster that, like, basically there's no tracks for. Like, you're just going to fly through the air and hope to God you land on something. You're going to go from a roller coaster, it's going to land into a log flume.
Yeah.
And you have no idea how it's going to turn up, and then suddenly you're all wet. Like, what the fuck just happened? Whereas, like, when you read something like Shadows of the Sith, and then I went and we talked about getting into the Marvel Unlimited and doing some of the comics, and I read some of the comics, and then, you know, trying to piece together the story a little bit more and make it make a little bit more sense from that depth and that level. You can make it make more sense.
Sure.
Right? It's like anything else. I mean, if you can make the story make sense depending on how you look at it from a certain point of view, right?
Right.
So I think that this particular story, there's a lot to be desired. And there's a lot of open-ended things that I wish they closed. And even stuff that they talked about in the Shadow of the Sith book that I think, okay, you teed this up. I would have loved to have seen them finish that in the Rise of Skywalker.
Sure, yeah.
Because they did tee up a lot of stuff that made sense in the Rise of Skywalker. Somebody had asked in the chat earlier, does the Shadow of the Sith make the Rise of Skywalker better? And I would say yes, it does.
Oh, for sure.
I would say
Absolutely.
that it gives you clarity on things as you watch the Rise of Skywalker. It's the lead in that you should have had with The Last Jedi.
Right.
Is it a 100% thing? Absolutely not. No, it's not.
It's only really like Rey's parents, Luke and Lando, and how they got to where they were.
Luke and Lando, and I think this generalized.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Pride, General Pride.
Well, I mean, Pride's there, but it's this generalized feeling of like where the direction of everything is going.
Sure.
And how Exegol, how important it is for a lot of the other things. Now, things that I don't like in general, and you know, we should probably get to your notes because you're probably going to cover it in your notes. But things like, you know, if we're talking about a Sith artifact, that Sith artifact should just be a Sith artifact and not, as Vickers or Helmet Fire had put it, like the Goonies artifact where you hold it up to fucking, you know.
You're talking the dagger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have, obviously, if this an ancient Sith artifact is it going to know exactly how the Death Star fell in this? And then, you know, if you could slide the fucking slide rule out of it, that is not good. Not good at all. But the whole idea of the Death Star wreckage, like I saw videos of, or maybe it was something that was posted about, you know, the Death Star explosion and then the wreckage in the planet. Like, you can have that level of explosion and still have wreckage.
Oh, of course.
That size.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, you got to think of how big this fucking thing is. And yes, there's probably a huge explosion that's going to engulf the whole thing, but the pieces can still be intact and fall.
Yeah, it's not like every piece of matter all exploded at once. Like, the energy had to go out into something. It's going to eject all this other energy. That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, look at the fucking aftermath of 9/11. Look at right after the buildings fell. You know, it looks as they're falling like, oh, that's just the buildings are turning completely into dust.
I don't know how 9/11 got into this.
I'm just saying, but then you look at those pictures immediately after the collapse of the buildings, and there's some massive chunks of it left. So whatever.
Let's get into your notes.
All right. Now, before we get into the notes, I wanna say a couple of things. First of all, like I said, Kristen and I watched it together on Saturday night. We had a good time rewatching it. Kristen, like, especially wanted me to make a point to say that she really enjoyed it because she was like you. She hadn't watched it since the theaters, since we saw it in theaters. So, you know, she enjoyed the whole experience, start to finish, because if you try not to overanalyze it and just try to, like, let it soak in, don't nitpick the dagger and all of that other stuff and just kind of let it happen. It's just a fun little like adventure movie where they just go from one place to another looking for something, and then the big battles and boom boom and good times. So she really enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the experience. So rewatching it was good. I was never like, ugh, when is this going to be over or anything like that. And neither was she. So just want to get that out there before I start getting into the notes, because my notes do start getting a little nitpicky at times. And it's because that's what you do when you watch it, to analyze it and take notes. Because I took the notes the next day after we had watched it together. And we immediately start off. And this is the problem with this whole lack of direction thing. Because this story, Palpatine's return and Exegol and all of that, that should have been, if you're going to go this direction, that should have been the story of the whole fucking trilogy. Taking time to set it up, maybe just lightly tease it in the first movie. And then in the second movie, like have the reveal that Palpatine is still alive at some point towards the end of it. And then the third movie, it's like, okay, the finale of that or whatever. But no, because you're cramming that entire story into one fucking movie, you don't have time to fucking set things up. And it immediately starts off with the crawl, the dead speak, Palpatine is alive. It's like, ugh, okay, well, not beating around the bush on that one, are we? So, because they can't. They can't fucking set it up because they've painted themselves into this corner. It's like, fuck, we have 2 hours and 15 minutes to get all this out there. So fucking no big surprise. It's just Palpatine's back. Boom. In the crawl. When he had no hints of coming back in the prior two movies.
Yeah. Again.
Now, we know Legends material. And
no. We also had
this.
We had the
sacred Jedi text.
We had in the Aftermath books.
Yeah,
we had in the Battlefront show. We had hints that Palpatine was maneuvering things from the beyond. We just didn't know in what capacity that was.
Right, his contingency plan, basically.
Right.
Like
so,
he set, and they set that up really well in those books, in the game.
Right. So there is definitely parallels here. Like, okay, we can speak to what was talked about in the movies and where the primrose path is for the movies, and then there's what the rest of us that are probably listening to this podcast that are probably a little bit more into the weeds, as it were. We had an idea that this was happening, and then even in the comics, there was an idea that Palpatine was alive. So,
yeah. So it was.
We knew, but if you're just in the fucking viewing audience and sitting there, all of a sudden, boom. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's suddenly in your face.
Yep. And then the movie starts off with Kylo Ren looking for a Wayfinder. Somehow he knew that a Wayfinder existed, probably because of Luke's notes, because as we learned in the Shadow of the Sith book, he was still Luke's young apprentice during the time where fucking Luke and Lando were looking for Ochi and all of that stuff. Even though Ben wasn't there with them, he was there at that time. So, and we saw in Rise of Skywalker that Luke wrote all the shit in the sacred texts that Rey was reading. So Ben probably learned about him through that, but he somehow knew to go right to Mustafar, and apparently Vader just kept a fucking pedestal right in the middle of the fucking burned forest that had his Wayfinder, because it makes sense that Vader and Palpatine each had a Wayfinder. There were only two made, right?
Right.
So who's going to fucking have them? The current Sith Master and his apprentice. So it makes perfect sense now that one of them was on Mustafar and one of them was in the fucking Death Star wreckage where Palpatine met his end. But the problem was, I don't know if you remember or not, when we first watched this, I didn't know that was Mustafar he was on, because
it didn't look like the Mustafar that we
would
know right off the bat.
Yeah, because you just assume Mustafar is entirely covered in volcano. You wouldn't think that there was an actual like
petrified forest and all this other shit. Yeah.
So come to find out after the fact. Now it does help that like the outer shot, the planet is very obviously red and lava covered, but we didn't know. We didn't know at the time for sure.
Right.
And they didn't help us at all with that fucking fight scene. But now, in hindsight, makes perfect sense. Two Wayfinders, Vader had one, Palpatine had one. So after reading the book and all that, watching this is like, oh, okay. Makes sense. And my theory is where it was in that pedestal that fucking Ben found. It was probably right next to a clearing where he kept his fucking TIE fighter. You know, Vader's TIE that he flew around. So he could just, you know, if he wants to go to Exegol, just pop it into his TIE and then.
Why take it out of your TIE at all?
That's a good question. And I didn't think that far ahead.
If you're gonna plug, like, you have it in the Death Star, you got to plug it into the Death Star.
Yeah.
Right. If you're the Emperor, I mean, obviously you still have the umbilicals plugged into it.
Yeah.
Like, why take it out of your TIE Advance? That's your ship. I wouldn't.
It's a good question.
Yeah, that'd be like taking your INS unit out. Like, I'm gonna take this whole fucking thing out with me.
Just in case.
I'm just gonna put it outside of the fucking ship just for reasons.
Right.
Just because I want it be exposed to the elements. And somebody can come find it in 25 years.
My grandson. I did like the sort of horror movie-esque scene we get as Ben's going into Exegol and he's looking for fucking Palpatine, and it's like the flashes, you know, really good use of light.
The light and then the sound.
Yeah.
That, you know, you get that. It would remind me of it reminded me of another movie. Actually, it was a Star Trek thing with the
Oh, you talking Wrath of Khan?
yeah.
When they're in the nebula?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, it was good. I liked that use of like the darkness and the light, and like you'd only see Palpatine's face in the
parents.
Yeah, exactly. But you only see Palpatine's face with like the flashes of light. But when you did see it, yeah, the fucking wide eyeballs, you could tell he was all fucked up.
Yeah,
and,
you could tell he was basically fucking disintegrated.
yeah.
And just a husk of a organic thing. Excuse me.
And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point that Palpatine was lying to Ben when he told him, we basically offered him the new empire, right?
Right.
You know, you can have all these ships, you'll have a new empire and all that. Like, obviously he was bullshitting him from the start, right? His only purpose was to convince Ben to bring Rey back.
All right. So let's talk this out real
Okay.
quick. And I think we talked about this before, but I need to talk about it again.
Sure.
So, Shmi Skywalker. Okay,
Mhm.
we're going back
Yeah.
into Ben Solo's, lineage.
His great grandmother.
Right. She gets impregnated through the Force by Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He waves his fucking magic hand. Yeah.
You're pregnant.
Ping. And now she's fucking she's got the fucking the virgin birth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Palpatine in essence is Anakin's father,
Essentially.
right? So then Anakin and Padme give birth to Leia and Luke. Okay. So there's
Who are
Skywalker.
essentially
Leia gives birth to Ben, who is essentially they're still Palpatines. To me, Ben could have still been a vessel. And it makes me wonder if the pull, if you're the Emperor, right, is part of the storyline that you're pulling Ben, because I finished reading one of the comics. It was the Rise of Kylo Ren comic. It's
you did read that?
I did. So
because I wanted to talk about that on the show, but I wanted to read it first.
Well, so there's elements to that where if I'm not giving anything away, but if you're trying to pull Ben Solo in, but he has such a strong pull to the light, right? Because he's standing in front of Luke Skywalker all the time. Like he's in the middle of the temple and everything else. So you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to try and pull Ben Solo to the light. Meanwhile, I have my fucking, my clone kid who ran off with some fucking broad, right? And I tracked them down.
He knocked her up.
Not, he got busy with the broad, right?
Who, by the way, they hinted at might have been Force sensitive in Shadow of the Sith. I don't remember if we talked about that or not.
I don't
last
think we
week.
did.
Yeah, but they insinuated she might have had some Force sensitivity
Right.
to her. This is Rey's mom.
Right. So they give birth to Rey. Right now, Rey Palpatine's like, okay, here's another
Another one of my grandchildren.
Right. Here's another one genetically, something that's close to me genetically that I could potentially have the vessel for. So I don't think Rey was the only target. I think Ben and Rey were both his target.
Okay, but
Because
at the end of the day,
genetically, he had ties to both of them.
which I mean that makes perfect sense. And I guess at the end of the day, it was never about passing the throne to either of them. He just wanted their fucking bodies to
Right.
to
Really
claim,
what it came down
so
to.
he could live forever. He could continue living forever.
Right. It was about. Yeah, it was all about him.
So God, that theory brings up a whole new dynamic because I never thought about the relationship between Ben and Rey as like cousins.
Well, because
almost.
Then it's like, okay, where's this dyad from the Force come from, right?
Right.
How the fuck does that happen? Well, I think it happens because they are genetically from the same bloodline.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so you have this
In
like,
different obscure ways, yeah.
right? And why? Let's reach all the way back to why was Shmi Skywalker selected, right? What made her the vessel, right? Was she Force sensitive? Was there some lineage that she came from before she became a slave on Tatooine? That
is true. We don't know shit about her before.
Was he just in fucking at the fucking cantina and he's like he just eyeballs some broad over there. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do some business with that.
Yeah.
And just walks up, puts his hand on her belly, and bing.
Or he legitimately tried to put the moves on her. She rebuffed his advances, and he's like, you know what, bitch? Got you anyway.
Gotcha, bitch. That's right. Hey, say no to me. I got no right here. Bing. I'll take it. I will write the parallel script for the sequel trilogy. But
Indeed.
yeah, that's when I rewatched it. It really made me think about that original connection that we know is canon. And again, we know it's canon because of things like the comics, and then we get into these deeper elements that you're never going to know just from watching the movies.
Yeah, unless you really dive into all this extra shit.
Yeah, you have to get into that, and you're not going to find it from comicbook.com.
And it's funny because I know all this. I mean, and we've talked about this stuff at length, and we talked about it at length as we were, reading all of these books when they first came out, the Aftermath books and the comics and everything. And it, like, I know all of that stuff exists, yet as I'm watching the movie, I'm still putting myself in the mindset of the casual viewer. Like the dagger and all that stuff, I can look past that stuff. The Palpatine coming back, I can look past it, but something in the back of my mind is still like, God, somebody who's not a hardcore Star Wars fan like me or Dave is probably looking at this wondering like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
and $300 million of profit to prove it, because there's a lot of what the fuck.
Yeah.
Because that's the pissing in your mouth of The Last Jedi. It's like, okay, you decided to make a movie that was going to follow a path of something, something that maybe was a little bit more ideological than was necessary. Maybe, missed some opportunities to further the story and make the third movie a little bit better. And, maybe whoever was writing the third movie just wasn't picking up what you were laying down that would have made the third movie be better and make more sense and make The Last Jedi seem better.
Right.
But, obviously we didn't get that. We got pissed on, all in our face, all in our
piss on you.
face right here.
Yes, I do. I'll piss on you. I'll pee on you.
Drip, drip, drip.
Oh my God. Somebody needs to do some sort of a meme of R. Kelly from Piss on You, but maybe do Ryan Johnson's face on him, and then have like his piss be The Last Jedi, and then the fans being the ones
Haters gonna hate.
lovers wanna love. I don't even want none of the above. I want to piss on you.
Ryan Johnson gonna piss on you.
Oh, that's good. All right. So
More in
moving
the
on.
notes.
Moving on. So this is one of the things to me that has not aged well in the 2.5 years, because there was an emotional tie to this when we first saw this in theaters, and that was them bringing back Carrie Fisher in the deleted scenes from Force Awakens, right?
Right.
Because at the time, you know, her death was still fairly fresh. I think we were maybe a year removed from her dying, maybe 2 years. I'm trying to like envision what the timeline was. I think
She had passed.
I think she died before The Last Jedi came out.
Facts.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, she died before The Last Jedi came out. And obviously they had these big plans, like she was going to survive Last Jedi, and then she was going to be the main cast member, that original cast member that the last movie was centered around. Because if you watch the sequel trilogy, Han Solo was the main cast member in Force Awakens. Luke was the main cast member in Last Jedi. Leia was supposed to be the one in Episode 9. Obviously, that got all fucked up when she died, but they had enough time to course correct. And I think that the decisions they made ended up not working out well. Like when we watched Rise of Skywalker in theaters, seeing her again on the screen, like, oh, okay, with this rehashed footage that they didn't use from Last Jedi, I was like, okay, it's good to see Carrie Fisher on the big screen again. You know, some kind of emotional feels there. Now that we're a couple years removed, I think it's just awkward.
This is how I felt when I saw it there. Again, remembering that I went into this completely eliminating The Last Jedi existed.
Right.
I'm Last Jedi didn't happen. Fucking Leia, Mary Poppins didn't fucking happen in space, and all that whole fucking sequence didn't happen. Where you could have not easily, but you could have had it. You had an opportunity with The Last Jedi, with the death of Carrie Fisher. If you were going to have her in that scenario, that could have been an honorable death at the hands of her son.
Sure.
And yet what an interesting plot point that would have been.
They would have had to refilm some of the stuff at the end, obviously.
Right. But think about like what the stuff that there was there at the end. There wasn't so much of an impact that, I mean, you could have done it.
Yeah.
You could have done it. But
Easily.
they missed that opportunity, and they put Last Jedi out. So now you're going into Rise of Skywalker. They're like, fuck, they left her alive. So now we have to give her an appropriate end.
Yeah.
Right. So how are we going to do that? And I think that they kept her going enough in the story to get to that point where she's basically helping turn Ben to the light.
Sure.
And that's and then you know, that's when she passes. You know, that energy that it is to communicate with him, you know, through the Force to do whatever, and then and then she punches out.
I get it. Like it was a decent way to write her off, but the problem is they had very limited footage to work with. Like you had to have fucking Maz basically, you know, giving the exposition to R2 so we would all understand. But like, oh, Leia knows it's going to take the last of her energy to reach her son, you know, as she's limping away. And
remember, this is a movie for kids.
I know. It was just, it just seems so just awkward.
You talk about some of the things that you didn't have issues with. That for me, that was one of the things I didn't have issues with.
Yeah.
To me, the footage that they used and the way that they did it, I think was more respectful than the way that they treated her while she was fucking alive in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
That Mary Poppins shit was so just fucking...
It was awful.
Just vomit.
And that was, I'm pretty sure that was the moment when we were sitting there watching Rise of Skywalker that I realized, like, I don't think I like this movie.
Like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, I think that was the moment where
it could have,
like, everything switched.
It was like, oh, he killed her. Wow. Wait, she's still alive?
Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
What? 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 And then after that, it was a whole lot of what?
Yeah.
What?
And
What?
then, well, and of course that leads right into
What? What?
leads right into purple hair taking over, and
Okay.
so, but yeah,
Fucking Holdo maneuver. The fact that they said Holdo maneuver in this movie.
Yeah.
That was a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
1 in a million. Where is she? Where's that purple hair bitch?
Yeah, and you actually have a pop figure. Well, that was because it was a gag gift.
It was gifted to me by a loyal listener. I think it was from the Escape Pod guys.
But yeah, like I think that they threw in pretty much any piece of footage that they could get that had Carrie Fisher just to do it, and I think it got really awkward when it was that fucking scene where it was like, do me a favor, try to be optimistic, and he's like, whoa, this is going to be the greatest ever, and that was just like the worst scene. It's like, ugh. Really? You couldn't have just left that on the cutting room floor?
I think they missed, like, Snap Wexley, they misused entirely anyway, because they had a great storyline with him.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking in the Aftermath trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
They had a great storyline, and they just wasted that fucking character.
Yeah, and then they killed him.
Yeah. Unceremoniously fucking to his death. And the casual viewer had no idea who that fucking dude was.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
None at all.
Well, he was the dude that you saw briefly in The Force Awakens that was also flying an X-Wing. That was it.
Irritating.
Yep.
Where the fuck is she?
She's probably over here somewhere. Oh, yep, I see her right there.
Oh, I can't see her. She's behind. Oh, there she is.
Yep.
Fucking twat.
So oh my God, we're still like not even a halfway through my first page of notes. Rey's running the training course and she gets pissed, right? She's fighting the ball droid, the same one that Luke fought. And there comes a point where as Ben is doing his little fucking force meditation with the mask, where she's starting to get like fucking pissed, and you can see these dark tendencies.
Right.
She's getting fucking angry. She grabs the stick and fucking shoves it through the fucking droid, and like you can see these dark tendencies. And it was another thing that they only just briefly touched on in all three of these movies, and never really nothing manifested out of it. And that was, to me, that was another missed opportunity because...
Well, I mean, and she was never properly trained, right?
Right.
You know, if Leia is training her, you know, which they allude to in the movie, I mean, we kind of know it was happening.
Yeah, she calls her master. So.
Right. And Leia was never fully trained herself.
Right. But
And
she's, at this point, she's the last person standing that we know of that's
Right.
a Force user or had any kind of training.
So, yeah, she has no, like, Rey has, she's a Palpatine.
Yeah, and
right?
you know, and they've going back to The Last Jedi, she's had these tendencies, these anger tendencies. You see it in her fight with Ben at the end of The Force Awakens, and you know they all do. Yeah,
Every one of these fuckers do.
yeah,
Like the only one that didn't fight with some level of anger was fucking Qui-Gon.
yeah,
And look what happened to him.
yeah,
That didn't work out so good, did it?
yeah. He got skewered.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no,
The only guy in the fucking movie apparently that didn't survive a gut shot.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace. But yeah, they gave us these little hints, and then of course we get the flash of Dark Rey later on in the movie, but it never truly manifests into anything, and it was a little disappointing. I would have loved to have seen Rey go evil for just like half a movie.
Oh, I would have loved Dark Rey.
Just turn her evil for half of a movie until Finn comes and, like, you know, brings her around. And
Dark Rey. I mean, I was all in on Dark Rey when we saw it in the previews. Remember when?
Oh yeah.
Go back and watch our fucking, when we were splooging all over the fucking Dark Rey imagery that we got in the fucking trailer. I mean, I was all in. I pre-ordered the fucking Dark Rey pop.
Yep, I have the Dark Rey Black Series figure.
Yeah, where is she? Darkness.
Yeah.
No parents.
So then we get this interesting double vision, because to me, and I have this somewhere in my notes, but I'm going to say it now, the Rey and Ben dynamic in this whole trilogy, I think, is the best part of the sequels, period. Like, if you can, like, pick one detail or one plot point in the whole sequel trilogy that you think, like, is your favorite or makes it, for me, it's their connection. It's the story between the two of them throughout all three movies. It's the best part of The Last Jedi is, you know, when they discover this Force link and they have those communications back and forth, and it continues in this movie. That's the one thing that they kept from The Last Jedi in this movie, which I was perfectly fine with, because you see Ben meditating on Vader, and then Rey doing her training montage, and she's getting pissed. He's seeing visions. She's seeing visions of Dark Rey, of her parents. He's seen visions of fucking Luke and his dad like calling out to him. So they're both getting these like weird conflicting visions at the same time. And I paused it during Rey's visions because I never had a chance to do that before, or at least I did after it came out on video, but I never thought about it. There's a really cool shot of her by herself on the fucking throne of the Sith, like in the full dark garb, and she's got the white eyeballs like Palpatine does in this. It was pretty sweet. But you got to pause it at like the right fucking moment during her fucking, spazzy flashes. I'm sorry, spaz is an offensive term now. Her dynamic flashes. Sorry, you okay, Dave?
No.
I know. And then we have when Poe and Finn get back. Do you have anything on the light skied spipping? The light skied spipping?
What the fuck?
The light speed skipping. When they were in the Falcon running from the First Order, and they kept doing the light speed skipping with fucking Poe and Finn. I didn't take any notes on that, but
no, it was. Do we really want to get into the fact that it's several times throughout every time I watch Star Wars now, it validates the fact that hyperspace lanes are not the only way to fucking travel in hyperspace?
They're not the only way to travel, but they're still the best way to travel. All right. I'm not getting into this. Get the fucking thing out of my way. We get Poe and Rey.
Missed this. I missed the lightsaber.
That's a good one, too. It was very well built. They're treating Poe and Rey for a very short period of time like fucking Han and Leia from the original trilogy. They're sitting there bickering back and forth. There's some like sexual tension going on, but it's mostly them fucking bickering, and nothing ever comes out of it. Like they have this little fucking fight, and they're going back and forth, and then nothing manifests out of it.
Right.
So just another missed opportunity. If you're gonna go that way, fucking go that way and give us some kind of payoff at the end. Have them fucking making out at the end or something like that, or don't give us this at all and spare us 2 minutes of fucking pointless bickering.
Yeah.
This is the point where Kristen made a comment about Poe. Apparently he is a very attractive man to women. I think her exact wording was, "He can invade my base anytime," something to that effect.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So she made no bones about her attraction to Poe, but
apparently
whatever.
I bet you he's so small. So small.
So small.
Based off of I don't know what.
Well, he is short.
Yep. I did mention in here that Rose has been relegated to a background character like she should be, like she only ever was. That was, and look, nothing against Kelly Marie Tran. I'm sure she's a lovely person. She's not a good actress, first of all, and they did her no favors with the shitty writing in The Last Jedi. But I'm glad that they relegated her to a small side character, because that's really all she should have been. Because otherwise, she would have fucking like lectured us about like universal healthcare in this fucking movie, just like she lectured us about war profiteering in the last one. So it's like, okay, I don't need that, give her her own series, and then she can have a whole fucking storyline about global warming and all of that, but just keep it out of the fucking episode 9. And they did. So
yeah.
Relegated to a side character like she should be. More missed opportunities. We get the Knights of Ren, and I called this. We talked about it before Rise of Skywalker came out. I'm like, they're really pushing the Knights of Ren, right? Like, they're in a lot of the advertising and the trailers and everything. I'm like, they're not going to do shit with them. They're going to let them fall to the fucking wayside, just like whatever from The Last Jedi. Also, something from The Last Jedi also ended up like getting really pumped up and then like falling flat, like they didn't use them.
It's probably a pop, because I'm sure I fell for it.
Yeah, and
like I did with the Knights of Ren.
And yeah, the Knights of Ren were fucking wastes of fucking oxygen. They did nothing in this movie. They walked around fucking Kajimi looking for Rey and everybody.
Right.
That's about it.
There was a cool drone shot of them on a rock, and the fucking drone went in a circle around.
Yeah,
them. So, that was cool.
Neat shot.
Yeah.
They still didn't do shit. Oh, they captured Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Okay. They were the worst. Like Ben easily took them all out at the end.
Well,
Easily.
so you gotta read those comics.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to. I wanted to do them for the show.
Yeah. Well, you can, and we still can. I'm just saying.
What did you read them on, by the way? Did you buy them?
I did the Marvel Unlimited.
Were you gonna fucking tell me this?
It's in the notes.
What notes? In like for your week?
Right at the bottom.
You could have texted me. You could have been like,
It's been there since, hey, college boy, the notes are ready.
oh,
And I put it in there.
I didn't see them. Anyway,
Then why'd you tell me the fucking notes were ready?
to
So
let you know.
so I wouldn't put notes down? So this is why I don't put any notes down ahead of time. That's why I
I'm
wait
just
till
saying,
I
no,
show
this
up.
is something that transcends the show. You could have just sent me a text and be like, hey, dude, I'm resubscribing to Marvel Unlimited. I'm thinking about reading the Rise of Kylo Ren comic series.
I put it right there. It's right there in the notes.
It's not the same as like direct communication. Whatever. I'm not talking about this. We're still on page 1 of my notes. Anyway, Knights of Ren. Another missed opportunity. It's like, what the fuck? You know, we caught this vision of them in The Force Awakens. We see them in fucking Rise of Skywalker, and they're shit. They're dog shit.
Yeah, it's their. It was a way to get me to buy pops.
Yeah.
And then it was all for naught.
We got some looks at Pride, and now that I've seen, or now that we've read the Shadow of the Sith book and we kind of know some of his background, I'm looking at him like, he does look like a fucking drunken douche.
Yeah.
You know, the more you look at him and the more you hear him speak, I'm like, I could totally see him being that fucking sleazy character that
Yep.
we read about in Shadow of
Yeah,
the Sith.
where all he needed was his fucking flask and it would have been perfect.
Yeah, and then this is where we get like the shotgun blast of fucking Shadow of the Sith references, because again, they got to keep this story moving along fast, so they're just throwing out these words and plot elements that your average viewer has no idea what the fuck they're talking about the Wayfinders and the Forbidden Desert of Pasan, and you know, oh well, Luke went looking for this, and you know, when they come across Lando, he's like, oh yeah, and I was with him. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, how are you supposed to know that?
right, exactly.
Like, while he's in his fucking his tank Winnebago.
Right. Yeah, with one big wheel. And, you know, he's like doing the little hologram. And we were looking for Ochia Bastoon, an old Jedi hunter. It's like, okay, well, that's neat. So, yeah, they're shotgunning all of the stuff at us very fast, where now, after reading the Shadow of the Sith book, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Would have been nice to have set this up concurrently with the fucking movie,
Like-
and not 2 years later.
Like, if only there was an episode before this.
Right, right.
That they could have done that. If only.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was not a big fan of Poe's like new shady backstory in this. I don't know how you felt about that, but we knew what his origin was. We talked about it years ago when we did the not the Aftermath books, but the Empire's End comics.
Yeah.
It was that 4 comic series that's about Poe's parents helping out Luke, Leia, and Han and all
Right.
of them.
Getting the force trees.
Yeah, they
and-
get that fucking force tree from Luke. They plant it on some fucking place where they're gonna like spend their retirement. They're pregnant with Poe.
Poe grows up under the force tree.
Yeah, becomes a fucking phenomenal pilot.
Yeah. But has no force ability.
That we know of. And now all of a sudden, somewhere in there, despite having, you know, parents who fought for the rebellion and the Republic and grew up under a force tree and all that, he's a fucking spice runner. Really? Like that's what he ends up doing right before he joins the Resistance. It's, you talk about, again, some very steep turns to get to kind of where you are now. He's like all the way on this side with his parents who were rebels, then all the way on this side as a spice runner, then all the way back on this side as a resistance fighter.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the fact that they kind of shoehorned in the whole spice runner thing. Unless that's somewhere in some other fucking canon that took place before that.
I mean, there's a whole fucking Poe Dameron comic series that I didn't read.
Yeah.
That I have, they're in a box right there
Yeah.
that I was getting as part of the Marvel subscription.
Sidebar. I saw the episode of Beavis and Butthead that has Jason eats balls written on the fucking bathroom stall. The new episodes of Beavis and Butthead dropped.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, at least the 2 of them did.
I should probably watch that since
yeah.
I'm still paying for Paramount Plus.
And I started the first one, and the first one is like somebody posted that still screenshot of them looking at like writing in a bathroom wall, and it says Jason eats balls. That's literally what.
That's fucking fantastic.
But anyway,
That should be our new background.
Jason eats balls.
Jason eats balls.
With Beavis and Butthead looking at it. Oh, good stuff. Let's see, where was I?
Think these are still any good?
How
hot's it getting here?
it gets sometimes it gets hotter than outside.
All right, maybe not.
C-3PO. You talk about shoehorning stuff. They seem like they were really trying to shoehorn in a lot of C-3PO humor. And I already know how you feel about him. Go back to episode 2 of our podcast, and Dave talks all about his feelings for C-3PO.
Yes.
He had a couple of good lines, but 90% of his screen time was annoying, I thought.
Yeah, I think there's a part of me, there's this like this small part of me that kind of likes the idea that I don't know how it could have happened, this programming that he can't translate the fucking Sith shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that would have happened or when.
Yeah, was it Anakin?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, it had to have happened when he was under the care of Captain Antilles, right? You know, they wiped his mind, and as part of that, they also uploaded the Republic
but why
protocol.
But that doesn't. It still doesn't make any sense.
I'm reaching here, man. I'm just trying to figure. Yeah, either that or.
But that's like, all right, droid. That's your protocol. Like, you don't have free will. Like, as much as he's autonomous, he doesn't have free will. Like, there's some protocol in that droid that says that you can't do this.
Yeah.
So let's fucking get let's get Babu Freak in there to fucking or Babu Frick to get in there and fucking rewire his ass.
Yeah.
So,
well, and again, that's case in point for the whole movie. It's just like one little device moving the plot to the next place that they have to go.
Right.
You know, it's fucking first we got to go to Pasan because that's where Luke's trail led, and then we got to fucking go to this place because that's where this happened, and then
well, and the other part is too that in the book when it's talking about like the Sith writing, it's just basic backwards, right? Isn't that isn't that what they talk about?
So
like, it's basic like a mirror image of it.
The people who were trying to be followers of the Sith but didn't know the Sith language itself did their interpretation of it by writing basic backwards, but that wasn't the actual Sith language. That was these other followers' interpretation or how they represented the Sith writings.
Struggling to see how the dagger was any different. I'm pretty sure that the dagger was from that, but
yeah, again, it's
because they would have had to have written the location on it. Because the location obviously got there.
Well, I mean,
in the future,
I think we've already established that the dagger is the biggest thing where you got to just kind of like, just don't look or think too hard because you're gonna find like 100 plot holes.
Well, I like
buried in there.
But see, here's the thing: I like the idea of these. I like this. I like what they talked about in the Shadow of the Sith when it talks about these Sith icons and these things that have power, and the dagger being one of them, like
because the dagger was thirsty for blood. It
right.
like got Ochi to like, it made him like fucking just stab people.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill these people. And then what that did when Rey picked up the dagger and like heard the screams of her parents being killed, like it made that make sense,
right? But just I'm talking more the inscription and
that's the part where it gets to be the Goonies reference, right? Where it's like, so, but I like the idea of having these Sith elements but applying these modernized, like having to extrapolate to the point where they did. I just think was too much. You could very easily have had her hold the dagger and have a Force vision of where the fucking location was. I feel like that would have been way fucking easier than doing the having a fucking, prop guy like, all right, we're gonna need to pull out like this compass and that compass is going to be in the shape of the Death Star wreckage.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll just fucking CGI the wreckage in there.
Yeah, we'll make it fit.
Yeah, we're just. What if you can get that? I wonder if you could get like the dagger. Like if you could buy that.
Like a toy version of it?
Yeah, like
Probably.
some mock up on eBay. Get Adam Savage to fucking make the dagger.
Yeah,
Like
probably.
make a working copy of it.
Galaxy's Edge, $349.99.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's the end of my first page of notes. I still got 3 more to go, but I think we're at a point where I do need to take a quick break.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine.
and
I
then we
take a
can
break.
kind of blast through the rest of my notes and give our final thoughts. But yeah, we do need to take a very quick break and be right back after this very quick word from our sponsors.
Colt 45 is the dynamite taste.
I'll be back.
At least it's not me this time.
Oh, hang on.
What? Yes, please. We need to build that contraption that Don was telling us about to contain the glorious air conditioning. Yes. What did I miss in the chat? Bickering is what we do. Colt 45, a malt liquor. Colt 45.
It's a dynamite taste.
Scrolling through the chat. Dun, dun, dun. Doesn't look like I missed anything, cause it's the chat, and the chat's caught up in the tone. What's going on? What is going on? And I can hear the breeze hitting the microphone. The glorious, glorious air conditioning. Hang on a second. Let me.
All right, do you need to go?
I do.
All right. Do it.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? Is it not in here anymore?
What? Do it?
No, the long version. I think I took it out. Fuck. Oh well.
Do it! Do it! Do it!
Oh, the Colt 45 long version?
No. The do it. Make the sacrifice. I'm just gonna look at this one more time, just how beautiful this thing is. I want you guys to look. Look at his shoulder pad, and the fucking Empire logo, the red and black Empire logo. I want like 10 of these. Open them all. Play with them all day. What? Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again, sir. Sergeant Creel. Let's see if he's still cheap on eBay. I bought him about a week and a half ago. Director. Black Series. Sir. Can't spell. Sergeant Creel. Oh, you can get one, buy it now for $30 with $5.50 shipping. So yeah, you're still looking at about $36.
Dynamite taste.
Yeah, about $36 on eBay. Now this type of packaging, this makes me think he's probably an exclusive somewhere.
That's how much you paid for him?
37, yeah.
37?
I'm 37?
Yep. And he's still about that much on eBay. Fuck, there's a loose one. Bids currently up to $26.50, and it's still got 2 days left, and there's 3 bids on it. So fucking, you can get a loose one for about the same price as a new one. I don't know why people would pay that much, but whatever. He's good. Good Black Series figure. I like it.
Yeah, the packaging is money. Absolute money.
So small.
The package.
Oh. Gotcha. I gotcha. I see what you did there.
Did my notes blow away?
They were blown all over the place.
Where's the other one? Oh, wait.
It should be on the back of the...
Yeah, I can count. All right, we ready to get started?
Yeah, you want
All right,
30?
give me a 30-second countdown, and I'll kill the AC on like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Do it! And we're back. So, getting right back into my notes. You talk about a missed opportunity. I know we talked this to death when we covered Rise of Skywalker originally 2 years ago, but the Finn force sensitivity storyline makes perfect sense to me. Even going back and rewatching The Last Jedi kind of made sense. You know, he had that that distraction.
What?
No, that feeling that, you know, what was going on was wrong. And, you know, maybe it was the Force talking to him. And it was so obvious now after a couple of watches of Rise of Skywalker, exactly where they were going with him. But again, it was just hints. Like, they never overtly came out and said, Finn is Force sensitive. It's pretty obvious by the end when he's like sensing Rey's death and all of that. Or he senses that it's Kylo Ren coming in the desert.
Right.
But again, completely something that was just sort of a side thing that just was easily brushed aside, that if they had put any sort of effort into it, or if maybe they had, you know, used Finn in a proper form in the second movie and not made him a fucking bumbling idiot that gets carried around by the fucking, you know, the anti-military industrial complex chick, then, you know, maybe they could have done him better. And, you know, John Boyega, he called them out after Rise of Skywalker. He called out Lucasfilm. He said, you know, they fucked my character, though he defended Rose too, which I don't think was justified, but he defended his character, which I think was. And he got screwed because if you think about it, who would you say are the main three characters of the sequel trilogy?
Well, you're led to believe it's Rey, Poe, and Finn.
Right, but I honestly think Poe is more of a side character. It's really always been about Rey, Ben, and Finn, to me. Because even if you go back and you watch the original trailers for Force Awakens, those are the three characters that they focus on. Those are the only ones that you hear dialogue from. And it seemed like, yes, this new trilogy was based on these three pillars: the Rey, the Ben, the Finn. And thank you, Rian Johnson, for completely just shitting all over Finn along with the rest of the fucking fans with your little art piece. And he never got a true story. And it seemed like they were trying to bring him back into the fold in this, but it was too late. It was too late again because of the way they fucked him up. And I love the idea of a Force-sensitive Finn, but, you know, we never got to see it. And I just think it was another missed opportunity in these movies.
So I'm going to show this is going to be exclusive for the YouTube audience, but we can definitely talk through it.
Sure.
I want to look at, here's the movie poster for Force Awakens.
Yep.
Okay. So we have Kylo Ren, you know, who's the largest of the character here on that side. You have Rey, you have BB-8. Han Solo's in the middle with Chewie. Leia's there.
Because he was the main original trilogy character in this movie.
Poe is kind of small in the middle. So small.
So small.
Phasma's down here. And then you got Finn over here with a blue lightsaber.
Yep.
Right? And Rey, she's over here next to Kylo Ren. And we kind of had all kinds of speculation.
Oh yeah,
this.
we
Like,
broke this poster down so
us
hard.
And thousands of our closest friends all broke this down. Like her being on this side,
Her stick being parallel with the fucking red
Right.
saber.
And to be honest, I think that this is probably a much truer representation of where the trajectory of the fucking storyline was trying to go.
Yep.
If you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's that. Now let's look at for Rise of Skywalker. Riveting for the
Yeah, as Dave's typing it in. And yeah, just go back and look at the Force Awakens original movie poster. It was a great poster, by the way. Very, very well done. And I think you get an interesting dynamic because, well, think about it too. Think about it in the context of Rise of Skywalker now, and now that we know everybody's journey, Rey really did have those dark side tendencies like we talked about, which is why maybe she's there in parallel with Ben, also the parallel with the dyad and all that, while you've got Finn over on the other side by himself with the blue lightsaber, like the best representation of good. Whereas Rey, she's kind of in the middle. You know, she's...
Well, and plus Ben and Rey are both ostensibly in the same gene pool.
Right, yeah. Which we didn't know at the time, but it kind of makes sense.
Right. Same thing with this Rise of Skywalker poster, right? Oh, I'm not sharing that tab, am I?
No.
Oh, well, that's good.
We're still looking at the Force Awakens.
Well, that's
poster.
good because what was on the tab before I clicked that was probably not a good thing to be displayed on our YouTube feed. So I'm going to stop sharing.
We're about to find out what Dave watches on Pornhub. No, you're just not going to share it.
No, I just want to find the poster and then share it.
Wait, you still haven't found the fucking poster? What have you been doing this whole time? Watching Pornhub, apparently.
It wasn't Pornhub.
Okay.
Star.
Scatlover.com?
What the fuck is that?
Don't Google it.
All right, let's see. That's the German poster. Let's just not do that one. I'm looking for the official Star Wars one off of StarWars.com. Here we go. StarWars.com.
I'm so bored right now.
Shut up. Sick of your shit. Don't get me started. We click this. We click share screen. We click that. Shut up.
I will do no such thing.
The fucking heavy breathing. All right.
Hey, there we go.
Without fucking Jennifer Aniston's ass. Literally, it was like one of the tabs it had. I clicked Rise of Skywalker movie poster. And one of the images was Jennifer Aniston with like her naked, like she's laying on a bed with her naked ass showing.
Nice.
Like, why would that come up if I typed Rise of Skywalker movie poster? Like, who is doing that? I guess some horny nerd is fucking running that site.
Well, maybe he named his manhood Skywalker, and that's what got it to rise.
Well, I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way to go. All right, so who's on this? Still got Kylo Ren, front and center. Rey,
dead center.
Dead center. Poe and Finn are kind of at equal footing here.
Yeah.
And then you got fucking Zori.
I saw that.
And then you got the rest of the clan, and then you got these guys down here. So, and you got space horses.
Yeah,
with Lando's daughter, which they don't even fucking. To be honest, they don't fully flush that out.
Well,
talking about missed opportunity.
Yeah, they don't mention Lando's missing daughter at all in the movie. We didn't learn about it until I think it was the novelization and the encyclopedia that came out afterwards that referenced, oh yeah, by the way, Lando has a daughter that got fucking kidnapped. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's something that we, talked about during Shadow of the Sith. That was like his main driving plot device at that point. That's the reason why he stayed on Pisana, was to set up base and to look for his daughter in that fucking sector of the galaxy.
Yep.
And yeah, like that scene with him and Jonna at the end where it's like, well, where are you from, kid? And she's like, I have no idea. Well, let's find out. It's like, oh, is she his fucking daughter? Like, guess we're not gonna know. But wouldn't that be a great Disney Plus series? Fucking old Lando and Jonna just like trying to find like where all these fucking First Order stormtroopers came from, like trying to reunite them with their families.
Oh, and are all of the deserters are they all force sensitive?
You know, I thought about that because of that whole scene with Finn and her and talking about the feeling and they laid down their guns. I'd have to say no.
Could
Like,
be a lot of them, right?
Yeah, like maybe.
How prolific and at what levels and what sensitivity? Like, because we spend a lot of time in this universe of ours in Star Wars, and we talk about the Force and how much like it's in one of the comics Luke describes it as it's a door it's more open for some than others.
Yeah, and that
Right.
was they proved that in Legends. I know, because when Luke was bringing his academy up, there was one student in particular who was very weak in the Force, had very light Force powers, and was able to do like what she was able to do with the minimal power she had.
Right.
But you know, some people just had it more.
Right. There is no
So-
spoon. Like here you are. You're fucking. Here's your ability.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I can.
Yeah, we're not all given the same size ball to play with. Some
Right.
people get a small ball, and some people get a big ball.
small.
So smear. But yeah, so that's to me. It's okay. This concept of if these stormtroopers were all in the same unit, like as they were being gathered,
Mhm.
because they were all fucking gathered up as children, and you know, did they somehow gravitate? You know, how did the Force? You know, how were they gathered within the Force, and like where was that level of energy something that could have affected all of them?
Yeah.
You know, because they just happened to all be together. That's why they all put down their weapons in one squad. You know, whereas in Finn's, it was just him.
Right. Exactly.
So it was like, okay, you know, he just had that feeling. So I think it would be an interesting thing to flush out, like what percentage of them, you know, and how do you test that? Metachlorians.
Yeah, I was just gonna say blood test,
Yeah,
midichlorians.
let's get some blood work going. Come on, kids, let's do it.
At some point in the middle of the story, we're kind of told about this another arbitrary plot device that kind of moves them along, and that's that they're also kind of running against a clock. They're at one point when they're on Kijimi, I think, Poe's like, we only have 8 hours left, and it's like 8 hours till what? You know, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess Palpatine said in a few hours we're attacking, but it's just like this again, an arbitrary fucking timeline to just kind of keep the plot moving.
No, they were spinning up all the ships,
Right.
you know, that were being built, and as we know in Shadow of the Sith, they had been built for a long time beforehand,
decades, which makes sense.
And you know, suddenly it's like, oh, how the fuck did they build all these in secret? Well, they built it in a planet that is not on their star charts.
And Kristen and I actually had a conversation about this because she's like, so how? She's asking me, how did they get all these fucking ships and everything? I'm like, more than likely, Exegol is probably the capital planet of a series of planets and solar systems in the unknown region that they have control of. So it's probably not just this one fucking planet. They're probably, just like the First Order, pillaging people from all other systems.
And they just strip mined all the resources out of that fucking
right.
out of everything they could.
Yeah. So, I mean, to think that like all of this came from just one planet and just one species of people that were on that planet is a foolhardy thought.
Yeah.
You know, it's you've got to think that they have their own little mini empire out there in the unknown regions, because you know it's a huge chunk of the fucking galaxy.
And remember too that we never really got to the like what happened to the Imperial remnant.
Right.
Like what, you know.
Yeah, the logistics of which one of them, you know, how many of them turned into the First Order, how many
Right.
of them stayed on Exegol, where's Thrawn in all of this? We know Thrawn's in all of this somewhere, which that I'm going to get to that later when we talk about what comes after this. But yeah, I thought that arbitrary race against time was stupid because it was brought up once and then never really thought about again. So, whatever. Kijimi has a really neat look to it, I think. Sort of a medieval structure type thing, you know, like when it was in the snow, and very neat look for the limited part of it that we got. But yeah, I like what they were doing with the whole set design and everything of that. Just a little note that I made in there. I also like that Zori never completely goes helmetless. You know, she keeps the helmet on for most of it, and the only time you get any glimpse of her is when she just takes the fucking shades off to talk to Poe. But even then, her mouth is covered, so you never quite get the full face, which I think that's kind of neat because I mean we all know what Kerry Russell looks like under that, but I think leaving the helmet on, never fully getting to see her face, kind of leaves a little bit of mystique of the character. And I don't know how much I actually liked her character, but I did like the fact that they didn't make her fully helmetless. Even at the end when they're all like celebrating and hugging and kissing, and Poe gives
like,
her, he's like, suck
like-
my dick.
She's like,
Just suck it, just
nah.
little, just the tip. No,
No.
and she's just like, nope.
No.
It's like, all right. But yeah, she never took her helmet off. So I just thought that was an interesting observation. Babu Frick, still funny. I think even after a couple of years. Hey! I think he was great.
Where's Babu? Where are you?
He's one of your older pops too, isn't he?
Yeah. Where are you, Babu Frick? He's an expensive one too.
Is he?
Yeah, he's worth a couple of ducats now.
Yeah, because I feel like he was when you first started putting pops in the room here. You won that drawing.
Yeah.
You had that small group, and then you brought Babu in not long after that.
And Babu might have been in the second. Oh, I found Darkside Ray. She's over there.
Oh yeah. Anywho, I still think Babu Frick's funny. It's one of those things where you think maybe his appeal would have worn off over time, but no. I still liked him. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you're going to do that, you know, like, hey, here's this connection to this underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, it's whatever. It is what it is.
Yep.
Didn't love it. Didn't hate it.
A scene that I completely forgot about, but I really like, is when they're running through Kylo's ship and they come across the stormtroopers and it's like, oh, freeze. And, you know, it gets real tense for a second. And then Rey's just like, it's okay that we're here.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's okay that you're here. You're relieved that we're here. Oh, thank God you're here.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about that too.
Do you think she does that to us?
Yeah. Oh God.
And there are, like, again, this is Star Wars, right? Because I had to remind myself that, yes, Star Wars has these elements,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes, like, that element was not, I'm not saying it was off-putting. It was just like, oh yeah, this is okay. This is Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. There's precedent for this.
Right. And I guess what bothers me is that it's kind of like you're beating a dog, right? And now suddenly the dog is like flinching for everything.
Mhm.
So now that's how I feel about when I'm watching Star Wars, like especially sequel trilogy. It's like, oh wait, no, that's fine. No, it's good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you can let yourself go and not be so serious about everything, you can get through a lot of this and enjoy it. Though Kristen's least favorite part of this whole movie was around this time. And that was the big revelation that Hux was the spy. You know, he shoots the 3 stormtroopers and turns around, I'm the spy. She like hates that. Like very, very cringy.
It was cringy. That's facts.
Yeah. And it's just like one of those things that was shoehorned into the movie to kind of make part of it make sense. And Hux was a character. You go back and you look at him in fucking Force Awakens, and he was a fucking serious character. You know, he had the fucking Hitler thing going on when he's giving that fucking speech. And, yeah, exactly. You know, you paint a fucking little black mustache on him and you're like, yeah, this fits. And
where's your cancel culture there? Like, oh, look at this. This actor, you know, was portraying Hitler.
yeah, well, I think that's exactly what they were going
Yeah,
for, but it worked.
It's a fucking movie.
It worked, and like you get that shot when they fucking fire Starkiller Base, and you see the fucking thing in the distance going up, and he's looking at it, and his eyes are like all
Beautiful.
yeah. It's, you know, he was a great character in that movie, and then they very quickly turned him into this fucking just bumbling idiot between the second and third movies.
Well, you know, Ren basically fucking castrated him. You know,
Sure.
but you know, as a supreme leader, like, you know.
Well, even
in
then,
Force Awakens, let's take Last Jedi out of it, right?
yeah.
Like, again, this is my favorite thing now, is to take Last Jedi out of it. And I know at some point we're gonna do a Star Wars marathon order, and I can get more into that.
Sure.
But he was on equal footing when there was Snoke. You know,
Right,
when
yeah.
Snoke
Him and
was-
Kylo Ren were kind of
Yeah, they
like,
stood there as equals, and and visually they did that in the movie. It's like, hey, they're standing next to each other. They stand here as equals.
mhm. And there was that tension between the two of them. They
Right.
gave each other looks all the time, and there was dialogue. Like,
Yeah, it was
at each
it was
other.
evident. And then when Ren became the leader, then Hux knew that he was like, oh fuck, I had been relegated to the sniveling idiot role.
yeah, but
And he was, in the fucking Aftermath trilogy, he was a sniveling idiot.
right, but because his dad was a general, you know,
Right.
he was the kid of the general who got
Right.
what he wanted. Spoiled little fuck.
Yeah, and he did think, oh, there's Babu. There he is, right there.
Hey,
Hey, $45.
nice.
That little guy right there, stolen his value. Good
Yeah.
job, Babu. Anyway,
Yeah, and yeah, Isaac brings up a good point in the chat. Very, very Tarkin and Vader like in
Yeah.
at least in Force Awakens. But as soon as Last Jedi starts, like they're treating fucking Hux like he's just nothing. Like because even Snoke is like fucking bouncing him off of the ground and fucking treating him like shit. So very quickly, that character is destroyed. Anyway, moving on. This is also the point in the movie where, you know, where they're on the ship, Rey and Kylo have their fight, that I really noticed the John Williams score. Like, I know you talked highly of John Williams in Last Jedi, like his score in that. And I don't really remember too much from that, but I do remember a lot of moments from Rise of Skywalker in the John Williams score, and like he was just on point through most of this movie. It was really, really well done.
I deliberately, I mean, I will be on John Williams' dick all the time.
Yeah.
That's my thing. It's what I do. But yeah, for sure. Like, it makes the ending that much harder, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it was so good. It was this climax, as it were.
Yeah. And I love, again, the Rey and Ben, the visions of each other and how they can be in each other's presence, and that fight where they're going from his ship to the ground on Kijimi. I thought that was so well done. Like, I really like the way they did that and how certain things would spill into one reality or the other.
Yeah. I'm not. It was cool. From a continuity perspective, I don't know how well it holds up as far as how the Force. That's not how the Force works. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's a valid point. That's not how it's worked up till now, but you have to admit that there's things about the Force that we don't know yet.
Oh well.
There's always going to be things that we learn about what the Force is capable of or what the Force does. And I just kind of think of it that way. This is just a different way that the Force works that we were not aware of before, because we were never introduced to dyads in the Force before this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you may not like it, but it's not
It's
like
not that
it's...
It's not that I don't like it. It's just one of those things where I wish that we had a better precedence for it.
You have to start somewhere.
That's not okay. Sure,
Huh?
that's just shit. That's not the appropriate attitude, Jason.
I'm just saying, like, not everything can be established. Sometimes you have to establish stuff new. I don't know. Another note I had was, this is now getting to when they get to the DS2 wreckage. I think the shots of the ruins of the Death Star in that fucking ocean, very visually pleasing.
Yeah,
Just the wreckage and all of that.
yeah.
I like the way they did that. And even as she's like fucking sailing into the Death Star wreckage, just all those shots, like the overhead shots of her starting to go into the wreckage and everything. That was all.
There was a lot of visually, aesthetically pleasing fucking
Yes.
shots. You know, even if the scaling maybe wasn't the best in some of the shots. Like, you know, when I'm looking at TIE fighters where they're at, and I'm trying to like, oh, that hangar facility really wouldn't have been there. You know, nitpicking, you know, some of the imagery. which is what we'll do, right? We're for fucking Star Wars fans. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Um,
But she's walking through the hallway with the stormtrooper helmets floating around.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
You would. I really love and wish they would do more of like these ships when they crashed in these places. Like they did in Force Awakens, like when she's in there going through the wreckage and doing the scavenging and shit like that.
Yeah.
These massive hulks of ships. And even when we're in the fucking video games and we're fucking bouncing around inside the wrecks of these ships, that's fucking fascinating to me.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'd be one of those people I'd be all over that fucking wreck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, just like standing there. Just,
not even to scavenge, but just to like look at the.
yeah, I do that now.
Yeah.
When I'm at fucking air parks and shit like that. Sidebar. Allegedly. In 1997. 97.
94.
While I was in tech school, me and a tech school buddy, we had gone down to this air park in Mobile.
Okay.
Allegedly. And he had been down there and he had found out that you could get into one of the airplanes that's down there.
Okay.
And we were talking about it in class. We were both in the GAC class.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh fuck, how fucking cool would it be to fucking get into? It was a B-52.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How fucking cool would it be to get into one of these B-52s?
Oh fuck yeah.
So we're talking about it. We're like, all right, fuck it, we're gonna go. So the weekend we were gonna go, some fuckwad got like caught with alcohol or got a DUI or something. So we're like phase 1 day 1 for that fucking weekend. So we couldn't do that.
One person shits their pants, y'all wear diapers.
Yep. Like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't go out that weekend. So had to go another weekend. And it's fucking August in Mississippi. It's hot as fuck.
Yeah.
And he drove this Toyota. It was like this TR1 or something. It was like just this sports car. And we were going entirely too fast. There's no alcohol involved. There was nothing like that. Just driving entirely too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And he lived, he was down there with his wife, like as a PCS. So he lived off base.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to party at his house all the time.
Oh yeah, I had a friend, same situation.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Yeah.
And so we're in this Toyota doing like 115 miles an hour to drive down to this fucking thing.
God damn.
And blaring fucking just boots and pants music. Like I think we listened to Cotton Eye Joe like fucking 15 times like in a row.
Nice.
In a row. It was just fucking ridiculous. That's the song I remember of all the songs we were playing. Just blaring. It was fun.
Yeah.
So we get down there and we're walking around the air park and they have an SR-71 there.
Ooh.
We're walking around the SR-71 and they have the battleship, the USS Alabama's down there. Go through the whole thing and then we're like kind of looking at it, and it's like
At the B-52?
yeah, we're looking at this B-52. It's like an old H model. We're like walking around, we're looking. We go up into and in the bomb bay, like the crew entry in the bomb bay, the fucking door, you could open the door.
Okay.
To go in. We're like, oh fucking. And we're studying B-52 fucking avionics and everything, so we're like super familiar with what's supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's fucking do it, right? So poof, we go like look both ways, poof, and just pop. We go popping into the fucking B-52. Now, if you know anything about B-52, like they're big airplanes, right? These are giant bombers.
Mm-hmm.
But the fucking the cockpits and the fuselage is actually pretty narrow, right? And the bomb bay and the walkways, the catwalks in the bomb bay are super fucking narrow.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about a track that's like this wide. Like I'm holding on my hands about 6 inches apart. Like so the walkway to get back to like where the tail section is super, super narrow.
Mm.
And then to get to the forward section, it's just as narrow. So you have the avionics compartment and then you have the 2 levels. You have the lower level where the fucking navigator and the EWO is in the lower level. And then you go up this ladder to the upper deck where the pilot and the co-pilot sit.
Yeah.
And they have the ejection seat rails, like because the pilot and co-pilot eject through the top, and then the bottom 2 eject through the bottom, and they have jump seats and stuff like that. So we're looking at all this shit, and we're looking at all 8 fucking you know, ET gauges and all this other shit. We're like, and they had all the fucking the FD 109 fucking flight deck and all that other shit's in there. And we're like, oh man, how cool would it be to have this fucking shit? And we're like sitting there and we're like, we're in tech school. we get Article 15s. We fucking took anything out of here and got caught with it.
Yeah.
So we're like, and it's a shame because you didn't have camera phones back in. It's 1997.
Yeah.
We didn't have camera phones. We didn't have any of that shit. So we're just fucking. We tried not to get stung by wasps, you know, that were living in there, and we just fucking hung out inside this thing and went back into the fucking tail section and almost died from asphyxiation. It was hot as fuck in there. And yeah, we're skulking around in this fucking old ass airplane, and yeah, we popped out and you know, went about our lives after that. But I would do that with every fucking airplane I ever encountered if I could get into it. Like if every airplane I ever walked up on, the door was unlocked, I would go in and walk around.
Mm-hmm. So transplant you into the Star Wars universe.
Every fucking hulk of a wreck, I'd be like, all right, let's go. And I'd walk inside and I'd go in there until I couldn't walk anymore. Like for sure.
I believe it. All right, moving on, at least with my notes. I wrote, yeah, good thing we have Maz Kanata there to tell us exactly what's going to happen with Leia and her
Right.
death. Right. You know, she had to tell R2, oh, yeah, she's going to use the last of her energy to reach her son. I did like the final duel with Rey and Ben, like on the fucking Death Star wreckage in the water.
See, there were parts of it that I liked, and then there were parts of it that I didn't. The parts that... So she was attacking in a way that, like, it seemed like the lightsaber weighed, like she was swinging it like it was a mace or something.
Well, because
like,
yeah,
her
were
fighting style was like she was swinging it like it was so heavy,
especially towards the end, because they basically insinuated that earlier in the movie when she transferred the fucking life force to the serpent, that she was still under the effects of that, because there's the one scene where she falls back and she's like shaking her hand still, like that same hand that she you know, put on the fucking serpent. So we're kind of led to believe the only reason that Kylo Ren was about to beat her was because, you know, she had done that force transfer earlier in the movie, which I didn't like that aspect of it.
See, I wasn't really thinking about it from that perspective this time watching it, but
Yeah.
I guess it felt like,
Well, and
it's slowed to a point where I want to see, if you're going to exhaust yourself, I want to see you exhaust yourself fighting.
Yeah, well, but you know, they had to use energy for other things to like dodge those waves. They're jumping, they're fucking leapfrogging.
She jumps like it's like she's fucking. She does this huge force jump and makes
that's
that
how
seem
she's
so
been-
easy. But then, like, to actually wield the lightsaber and to fight, I think it's not used equally. If you
Yeah.
understand, I just didn't like how that. I think I'm in the camp of, hey, you could have such tremendous lightsaber duels, like the what you had in the fucking prequels. I want that. I want this battle should have been equal to what we had with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Well, and yeah, it's
From
interesting too, because this was the last real lightsaber duel in the
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
And this is like, we're only like 2/3 of the way through the movie or something
Yeah,
like
because
that.
we still got to get to Exegol. We still have to go through all the stuff with the Emperor. But yeah, this is the last lightsaber battle in the Skywalker Saga, and it ends with a slog fest.
Yeah.
And to me, it should have. If you're going to have her defeat Kylo Ren and then resuscitate him, I don't have a problem with that necessarily because of where we're going for the rest of it. However, you want to exhaust yourselves in a fucking battle like you had with
Like the Duel of the Fates, Anakin and Obi-Wan, where at the end of that, like they're so fucking tired, you can see they're just like, ugh. They're
Yeah.
just like slowly swinging their lightsabers.
Get the high ground and defeat. You know, I want it that level. I want that level of lightsaber battle because that's what this fucking franchise deserves. Because now this is Dave starting to feel like this is the end of the Skywalker Saga. Why are you ending it like this? All right, because all right, you missed this moment. Then okay, Papa Palpatine fucking pulls his life force, right? He steals some fucking life from the kids. Now he's full. Hey, look! Oh fuck! Oh look! I'm a real boy, right? Now he's a real boy. Fucking give him a lightsaber. All right, let them battle.
Yeah.
And now you fucking do some shit, right? No, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, we were kind of robbed of that, weren't we?
Yeah, like, okay, we're not gonna do that. I just in the world of missed opportunity, I think we were robbed of that, of real lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
That you could have very easily done. Like, there's no age issue here. There's no, like, I'm sure that Adam Driver and we know that they trained. We know that they trained.
Like Daisy and Adam, they
they
worked themselves fucking into a frenzy during.
They trained a lot during this. They physically could do it. They should have had a battle worthy of what, like, these two cousins basically, and ultimately one has to defeat the other at some point.
Yeah,
it should have. It was anticlimactic, and it pissed me off. It pissed me off because I knew it was the end.
yeah.
I knew this was the last one, and I'm like, motherfucker! I hated the way that this lightsaber battle finished.
Well, and you think about it in this whole trilogy, we never really got a proper lightsaber duel the way we had in the prequels. Now, granted, we're dealing with people who are less experienced in the Force, Rey in particular. The battle at the end of TFA was decent, but I mean, it wasn't on the level of the prequels.
No, and it shouldn't have been because
Right.
she wasn't trained.
Yeah.
Right. She had this embedded ability
Yeah.
that, but she should never have been like after this though. After having some training and getting to a point where she's channeling some of this, and she's channeling the dark side.
Yeah.
Right. And the dark side, when she's channeling aggression, she should be wielding some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
fucking-
and
while she's wielding the baby killer.
yeah, and I think we get that last sense of Dark Rey when she fucking stabs Ben.
Yeah.
She takes his fucking dagger. She's like, fucking, right in the gut. And then Leia dies. She realizes what she's done, and she's like, okay, that's the end of
You
the
know,
Dark Rey saga.
Yeah, and it wore off. Like
Yeah.
it was at that moment. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That power kind of wore off
Mm-hmm.
because his energy disappeared.
Yeah. And I like how Ben just kind of is just like sitting there in shock. No emotion, no pain, no nothing, just sitting there, just kind of staring off, kind of coming to grips of everything that just happened between his mother dying.
Well, his mother jumped into his conscience
Yeah.
and fucking was affecting him in the
Yep.
battle.
Mm-hmm.
Kept him from killing her.
Yep. And then
She's
got him killed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because he had to sacrifice himself so that she could fucking heal him, so that she could basically sacrifice herself, and then he could heal her to sacrifice himself.
Right.
Right. Everyone get that?
Everybody got that? Yeah, but no, I just that was some good acting, I thought, on Adam Driver's part, just kind of sitting there, just like
Right.
sort of kind of absorbing and accepting everything
Yep.
that just happened.
And then here insert Qui-Gon going, what, another motherfucker that's going to survive a gut shot? God damn it.
Obi-Wan!
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So anyway, enough about that duel.
Or lack thereof.
So I have a note in here. What does Dave think of Kylo's tie? We probably talked about this when we first watched the movie, but I don't remember. So what do you think of Kylo Ren's? It's more of like a tie interceptor. But you're a tie guy. So I'm just curious what you think of his version of the tie in this movie. I think it's very cool looking.
So I have
I know you're not a big fan of the First Order ties in general.
So, I mean, we have a representation of First Order tie right there.
Yeah.
It is a traditional tie. I do like the idea of the aft gunner in there. There is some very cool elements of the First Order TIE fighter, not necessarily the Interceptor.
Yeah.
I think Ren's like super Corvette style TIE is interesting. I've actually been looking at one. They're kind of pricey for the Lego version. Because again, I'm trying to be a completist as far as the Lego TIE.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just okay. I get what they're trying to do with it though. They're all of the First Order starships have this like element of this elongation.
Yeah.
And I think you can, I can't describe, I'm sure that somebody can way more eloquently than I can describe what they're actually trying to do with like this merging of elements of, okay, here's the First Order and what they're trying to do with these design elements with the TIE fighters and with some of the other ships. Like not necessarily the standard TIEs, but with like more what Kylo Ren's flying, what the Star Destroyers look like. Like they have this like just extra little bit of flair to it.
And I can tell you, I did not like the Sith TIEs that we see at the end with the little fucking triangle wings.
Yeah.
Like I thought those were kind of lame looking.
Yeah, so think of it this way. If you're going to mass produce TIEs, right? Pretty easy to mass produce a fucking triangle. If you're like, all right, I'm going to stamp, like I have this, solar panels, right? And I'm just going to chink, 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 chink. Can fucking stamp out a whole bunch of them, off of this pattern.
Because it uses less material.
Yeah.
And does it really help it aerodynamically? You're in space.
Yeah.
So.
The whole purpose of it is supposed to be to help fucking with ancillary power.
Yeah.
And, and stabilization, not necessarily for aerodynamic purposes.
Sure.
And it's not going to have a hyperdrive. You're loading them up into a Star Destroyer. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not my favorite. Like I prefer a traditional TIE fighter.
Yeah.
Get your little H shape with the fucking, your ball in the middle. I don't necessarily hate the Kylo Ren one, but it's not the worst. It's not the worst one.
Okay. Moving on. What do you think, now that we've had, again, time to digest it, what do you think of the Han Solo cameo? The vision or whatever that Ben has of him? Now that we're 2 years removed, obviously in the theaters at the time, it's like, oh my God, Harrison Ford's back. Very unexpectedly.
So, of all the things that I came away from the movie theater experience, I had the same feeling this time watching it. I did not have a problem with this. Strangely,
Yeah,
I feel like that there's part of me that's like, this is something that they shouldn't have had, blah 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 blah. They just killed off Leia. They probably should have had something like that. But like, you know what? This, I just didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Here's the closure, right? What allegedly killed any draw to the light side was Ben killing his father.
Yeah.
Right? Now that he's ostensibly, Kylo Ren is dead. Han Solo, this vision of Han Solo comes up to him, even if it's in his own mind. And now Kylo Ren is now dead.
Right.
And this turmoil within Ben Solo is something that is from the very beginning of Ben's existence. And I think when we talk about Ben Solo in the comics and some of his early stuff, I think we'll get to talk about more this inner turmoil, and there's never a point where Ben Solo is like this stable person.
Right. And again, this is what the fucking Jedi do. They ship kids away from their fucking parents at a young age.
Right.
And Leia even mentions in The Force Awakens, we lost him as soon as we sent him to Luke.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, maybe the Jedi didn't have all the right fucking answers.
Yeah. Maybe the sacred texts were written in error.
The sacred Jedi text.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. Another missed opportunity. You know, we've got this whole fucking other Sith army on Exegol. And they've got their own fucking uniforms. You've got the Sith troopers that are in the red. These guys.
Right.
The fucking Sith troopers in the red armor, which look badass.
Yep.
You've got the rocket versions of these, also fully red. You've got the fucking officers that are in these like black, sleek looking outfits with like the red highlights.
Mm-hmm.
All of them look fucking awesome. Just as shitty as every other First Order fucking troop and fucking officer and everything else. Nothing badass about them besides their appearance.
Right.
They're all just fucking lame pushovers like every other fucking stormtrooper, First Order trooper. And it's like, why? Just to sell more toys, basically?
Well, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, they look cool. But I mean, just again, another missed opportunity. Like if you're going to do this whole separate fucking empire, this separate army, make them a little bit better than the First Order. The First
But
Order
how do you do that?
Not just let them be fucking completely mowed over by
they
blast
be
of fire
clones?
while maybe because apparently clones are the only troopers that can hit their fucking targets and are actually worth a shit in any kind of war. So I don't know, maybe. But again, I just thought that they looked fucking cool and they didn't do shit. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's stormtroopers in general, right? I mean, it's there.
do you still not like Dio? I remember you not caring much for Dio.
I
still like him.
I liked. What I didn't like about Dio was the fact that he didn't seem to have any purpose, except for like that element of like, oh, we need information in Dio to be able to get to this next thing, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
If there was even that. No, I don't even think we get that out of the Sith, the Shadow of the Sith book.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's Dio being abused by Ochi. And then, oh, shit, Dio has information stored in him so we can get to, he's been to the fucking bad places.
Yeah,
so
Exegol and all that.
We can get information from him. That's fine. I like in the book, I didn't need to see Dio get fucking shit on by Ochi. But there was some fun parts. Like I actually didn't mind the like, no thank you, no thank you. That part was funny. But did we need to have that? No, there was. Let's have another toy.
Yeah, and Poe refers to him as a cone face. He's like, I am Dio.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
And again, these are elements of Star Wars that I should not have fucking. I should not be so fucking. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I should not be Dio about it.
Right.
This beaten dog.
Yeah. This is the part in my notes where I wrote, for a movie that was supposed to correct all the wrongs of The Last Jedi, we really barely got to see Luke in this. You know, he got the biggest shaft of all in The Last Jedi. And
But we see him in the best possible way.
yeah, he's much better represented in this movie.
This sequence, I think, is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I still get emotional when he lifts up the X-wing out of the
Well,
water.
it's the fucking score.
Yeah.
It's the fucking score.
Well, it's the score and it's the flashback to when he couldn't do it before on Dagobah.
Well, yeah,
now
I get
it's like
goosebumps right now just fucking thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the music and thinking about what's happening, and just it's the elements of it's in Rise of Skywalker. It seemed that when I'm watching it because I actually had gotten to a point now where I was from behind my desk and now I'm in front of it watching it because I knew that this part was coming up and I wanted zero distractions. The fucking demonic puppy, I made sure he was visible, and I was standing in front of the television so I could see this sequence because I was anticipating the impact of it.
yeah.
it's this sequence for me is the same. It had the same impact as when Rey brings the saber to her hand in fucking Force Awakens.
Yeah, it was
Like
another
that-
well done shot.
Like just fuck. Oh my god.
Yeah,
He's
with the
like,
music and
"Sing."
the emotional impact of what's happening, which you can't really see very well on the YouTube, as he had it down like in his crotch. So
Right.
basically, it was
And I was like,
the lightsaber is his raging hard on, and he's pointing right at me. It's just like I'm very uncomfortable right now.
yeah.
Oh god. Oh, right on my forehead. Oh.
Oh, it's just on your shirt. Oh yeah. You might want to clean that off.
You're not gonna have a good day when a homeless man busts a nut on your forehead 4:30 in the morning. That's a wrap for the rest of the day.
It's a wrap.
All right, but yeah, no, I think what we got to see of Luke was exponentially better than what we got in The Last Jedi. It's just a shame it was very short overall.
But it was I think what they did was poignant. I think it was relevant because when you saw Rey fly away, you immediately assumed that she was going to Exegol.
Yeah, when she stole Ben's ship and
Right,
just like
when-
beef it out. Yeah,
when she took off when Ben's ship, you immediately thought that she was going to go to Exegol. And
Yeah.
the fact that she shows up on Luke Island and she's fucking throwing her fit and she's burn everything.
and the pork's like, whoa, man,
You know, like
bitch crazy.
fucking porgs. God damn it. Worst. The
I
worst.
don't dislike the porks.
Fuck the porgs. The porgs and the Ewoks can all eat shit.
I
The
like
fact
the
that we
Ewoks
see
too.
Ewok. We see Ewoks in this fucking movie.
Yeah, we do, and I'm happy with that.
Why?
They're an important
Why?
part of
So
the Star Wars
Wicket-
saga, Dave.
So Wicket can fucking have an appearance.
Yeah, and his son. Anyway,
They should be skewered and fucking eaten.
or made into like a fur coat, like our friend General Pride had.
Yes. Yes. It's just to stroke it. It's just made out of Buck Nasty's mom's pubic hairs.
That's good.
Anyway.
So I still like the training montage between Luke and Leia. I'm pretty sure you back in the day disliked what they did with their faces imposed on those bodies. I still think it was done well enough, but it could probably use some deep fake additions now. Like, I don't see why they don't go back and fucking fix that with deep fakes now that we've got the technology, the proven technology. Why they don't go back and fix fucking Luke at the end of Mando season 2. You know, they got so many things that they can go back and fix. Fucking Leia in Rogue One. Oh god, she looked terrible. But you go back and fix that with a deep fake very easily and make it look so much better.
Yeah, but even Leia and Rogue One at the time, with what technology that we had, it was not it was not bad.
No, I think it looked like shit compared to Tarkin in the same fucking movie. Tarkin in the
yeah.
movie looked fucking phenomenal.
Well, Tarkin had more screen time.
He did, which you would think, because Leia had such a short amount of screen time, that she'd look somewhat normal, but I think she looked terrible. But I digress. I thought that what we got, the flashback with Luke and Leia, I thought it was a good scene, and I thought it looked passable. But it could use a little deepfake touch-up, I'd say. What did I like? Exegol's Crupris? Oh man, I can't even read my own handwriting.
That's because your glasses are fogging up because it's so fucking hot in here.
Maybe.
Jason,
Um,
it's so hot.
I mentioned how the Knights of Ren got jobbed out
It's so hot.
very
in here.
easily.
Oh, Jason.
After Rey passes the lightsaber to Ben, like the John Williams score like goes up to 11 for the whole rest of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
I think.
Cue the meme where the fucking piano's on
Yeah.
fire.
Yes. Yeah. Like right at that moment, like even leading up to it, you know, as it's like the slower score as they're kind of looking at each other and kind of giving each other the nod and just to get good stuff. But then as soon as she passes it to him and he fucking pulls it out and then the score picks up and it goes.
He does the little fucking Han Solo nod.
Oh yeah. And like it really picks up, like really emphasizing the Rey theme and then the Ben theme and just good stuff all around. Fucking John Williams,
Are they all sweating?
greatest of all time.
God. Yeah.
I like the be with me scene a lot more now than I think I liked it back then, where she's looking up and she sees everything all fucked up and she's once again trying to reach out to the fucking Jedi, and then you get the, you know, the greatest hits of fucking all the Jedi we know, from your Lukes to your Mace Windows, your Yodas, fucking Qui-Gon.
Right.
I think Ayla Sakura is in there. Fucking Ahsoka, Ashley Eckstein doing the voice of Ahsoka. So I like that scene, and they all fucking told her, "Rise, get up," you know, and she fucking gets up and she's got that fucking mean look on her face and whoosh, brings up the lightsaber. It was good. I like that scene this time around.
Okay.
Quite a bit. Not so much for you.
I don't have too much to say.
While Pride's death was very satisfying, like I like the way they did that, where he ran up to the view screen, and then you just see the explosion just fucking push him out. Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
We're not gonna talk about the fucking space horses, and because I mean, one thing that I did realize, like I keep calling them space horses, and I'll continue to call them space horses, but really they weren't in space yet, because the craft had not left the atmosphere of Exegol.
Yeah.
Hence the whole reason that they couldn't, like, that's what they had to do, because if they had left the atmosphere.
Well, that was another one of those convenient plot devices. It's like they're all fucking in this one spot. They're all parallel. 100,000 fucking Star Destroyers are all sitting in parallel in one spot, and they all have to lift up at the same time with a navigation tower.
With a navaid. They all need this navaid.
And it's like, okay.
But then they're smart enough to be like, oh, fuck, they took out the navaid. Well, transfer it to the ship.
They hadn't even taken it out yet. They're like, hey, they're going for that fucking tower. You see them flying towards that tower? Oh, they're going to try to take out our communications. Well, just fucking switch it up to the thing.
Right.
No,
right.
no
Well,
problem.
oh, they're coming to get us here. Well, then switch it to another one.
Yeah.
Can't we make two of them? You know what? That's a good idea. Why don't we make two of them?
Yeah.
Like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah. 100,000 fucking Star Destroyers. We can't.
Written by George Lucas.
I know, right? But yeah, that was again one of those just convenient plot devices to kind of keep things going and to make it not that big of a threat, even though, again, you've got a fucking 100,000 Star Destroyers all with planet-destroying guns on them. It's a pretty big threat.
Yeah.
And only one of them ever gets out, and the one that destroys Kajimi, and then that's it. And the rest of them are all tied together. I thought that was kind of dumb. Still think it's dumb. Yeah, Pride's death was pretty satisfying. Palpatine's death I thought was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You know, the big bad character of the whole saga just kind of getting taken out just very unceremoniously. Just I don't know, I would have expected a grander final battle other than her just like blocking lightning and then get another lightsaber and block the lightning double and throw it back at him, get your fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark face melting scene, and then that's it.
Yep. And it's over.
Yeah.
Collapse everything around you.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the Emperor, once fully fleshed out and obviously having the power of all the Sith.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, it's like, okay, you have the power of all the Sith. So you have power.
Mm-hmm.
And she obviously has some power against that, right?
Sure.
Utilize it some way other than just the lightsaber. I mean, we have precedents for the lightsabers, the user of the lightsaber having the ability to absorb the Force lightning.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
and that's
there's all
fine.
kinds of precedents for it. And
yeah, I had no issue with that.
I get that, but using that as the element to defeat him, I would agree was just, I don't know.
Because you'd
just
think
too
like
convenient.
once he realized like, oh fuck, she's reflecting it back at me, I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah.
You know,
Let me stop doing that.
Yeah,
so I get laid one more time.
Right, exactly. Instead of just continuing to push out the Force lightning that's constantly getting like flown back into your face, it's like, yeah. And you know, Isaac in the chat brings up a good point. He'll be back, and yeah, I think so. Like he's not gonna make all these fucking plans to just like all of a sudden be melted by his own lightning and then just be dead for good. And that's kind of where my notes stop. because I had one other thing I wanted to talk about. If you have the time and you'll indulge me, I know it's getting late,
No, I'm good. What's up?
and that's where do we go from here, right?
Okay.
Because I think most people agree this is not the way we envisioned the Skywalker saga to end.
Fuck yeah.
I think we need one more trilogy. And here's what I think we need to do. All right.
All right.
First of all, we need to finish the plot line of both The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. They've got their own. We've got the Filoni verse going on right now, right? The Filoni Favreau verse going on. We need to keep those stories going, wrap them up soon. Hopefully, all the major characters still surviving, and we need to make a new trilogy now where Rey and Finn and Ahsoka are rebuilding the Jedi for real, and not just like some hint of what Luke tried to do. But no, we got Rey, Finn, and Ahsoka rebuilding the Jedi. We've got fucking Din Djarin helping out Grogu as the new leader of the fucking Mandalorians, and we need some other big galactic threat, be it some sort of fucking Vong invasion type thing, some sort of lost planet of the Sith kind of storyline, or fucking Thrawn. Thrawn, who knew Palpatine was fucking up by building Death Stars. He fucking knew that they were making these terrible strategic decisions where if you would put him in charge of the fucking Imperial military from the start, he probably would have fucking wiped the floor with the rebels and everybody else.
Oh yeah, everybody wanted to be dead.
So, you put like, you don't make it any more about like the Sith versus the Jedi, more about like a fucking good military leader or just a massive fucking invasion force on a galactic scale. But you change it up a little bit. You include these new characters that we've been introduced to in these Disney Plus series. You integrate them in with these characters that we already know, the Reys, the Finns, the Poes. We can finally say goodbye to the original trilogy characters. They're all gone. Just, you can talk about them here and there, but no real references. Don't do anything to fuck them up. Just don't bring them in at all. And start fresh and give us a new trilogy that's planned out from the beginning. Don't be like, hey, you go make your movie. Hey, you go make a completely different movie. And hey, you go try and pick up the pieces of these two fucking idiots who couldn't make a cohesive story together. No, you have one fucking person in charge who's going to dictate the whole story. I say Dave Filoni. And then, yeah, you can have different directors of the movies, but have one person pulling all the fucking strings and dictating where this fucking story is going to go and having one overall vision. That's what I think we need to do. We need one more trilogy, episodes 10, 11, and 12, and then be done with this. But you gotta give us one more, and you gotta fucking make it right and do right by these characters.
No.
You
No.
don't think so?
And here's why. I think, excuse me. I agree. Like, doing right by the characters would be great, right? But I don't think that there's. I think bringing the Mandoverse into this universe, I think is a bridge too far. I don't think you can do it successfully. You'd have to. The idea, the concept of rebuilding the Jedi Order, I think.
Well, and it'd have to be a new Jedi Order. Like, maybe they realize the mistakes of the fucking previous regimes, and they're like, all right, we're going to do something different.
I think the way that they, like, I don't necessarily mind having a continuation trilogy, but me personally, I think it should be focused around Rey and a search for, like, it is a search to find something. Like, I don't know what. Like, if I'm trying to write this story, right? So I'm excuse me. I'm trying to find, like, I have Rey, and she's like, look, I know the failures of what Luke was trying to do in rebuilding the Order, and we see what happened because of that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make those same mistakes. I have my lightsaber deliberately is yellow, and that has
that kind of neutral color,
right?
almost.
It has this implication of being a guardian of the Force, not a Jedi Knight.
Okay.
Right. So going out and saying, how do I, let's go find my place in what, and what I can be doing in this history. And if the Finn and the Poe and those things want to come along, like she's got the Falcon, she's got Chewbacca, you can still, that can continue.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can still have some of this legacy, but don't bring in just drag the rest of the cast of characters in. Like, if you want to flush out Finn's Force awareness, cool, do it. But don't make that a primary part of the story.
See, I disagree. I think that should be. If they ever continue with these characters, that needs to be a major part of it. Because...
I believe... I think it would be forced. I think anything that you do with that, like if you tried to make it a primary part of the story, like I don't think you can make a trilogy of it, because you'd be too much focused on trying to make Finn into a Jedi or something. Like, you're not going to make Finn, if Finn's Force sensitive, like Rey is not going to be able to train him because she's not taking on that mantle.
Well, what you could have is you could have them having opposing viewpoints on how to proceed. Maybe she's going more of the neutral, the gray Jedi type of mindset where, it's not about the Jedi Order or anything else. Let's find somewhere in between where maybe Finn's like, no, it's got to be the old way. Something to that effect.
But that'd be too much of a big part of the movie.
Sure.
Like, or what you do is you put Rey in the Falcon and she goes flying off trying to, find herself, and Finn and Poe are left behind to deal with the Vong invasion.
Yeah.
And, and at that time, Finn's trying to figure out how to use the Force.
Yeah.
Kind of similar situations, right? Maybe you can pull that off if you really want to use those characters. But I personally would like to see... I like the Rey character, and I like the idea of this guardian of the Force going off and trying to actually like do what Luke Skywalker does in the Legends materials, and goes out on this basically, I'm going to go out and just go find all these elements of the Force. And I'm just going to go on this hunt.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just, I forget what they call it, like a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to keep going until I figure out what the fuck I'm going to do with my life.
I'm just going to go from place to place, getting into adventures like Kane from the Kung Fu.
Exactly.
So you're going to be a bum, Jules. That's
Yes.
what you've decided to do.
Exactly. You don't have any money. You're just going to be a bum.
All right. I think this is a good place to maybe end the show. We've been going for a long time, and you look like you're about to melt in front of my very eyes.
Fucking sweating,
So
dude.
I mean, we can continue this conversation maybe when we talk about the marathon order. Continue
Sure.
this what comes afterwards discussion. But yeah, I think this will be a good place to pause. Final thoughts on this viewing of Rise of Skywalker. Positive, negative? What do you think? Just this movie, and not the whole trilogy or whatever. Just this one individual movie.
I want to say that because I read the Shadows of the Sith book, and then subsequently I watched Force Awakens, and then immediately after that watched Rise of Skywalker, I had a more positive experience this go around of the Rise of Skywalker.
Good.
And I think it has a direct correlation to actually reading that book.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. It's like so much more of it made sense. It's like, okay, yeah, this isn't like a huge leap as it was when you originally watched it, because we have that backstory now.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much a little bit of fucking information actually makes some things make sense.
Yeah,
and
go figure.
It just really amplifies the fact that continuity is a real thing, and it would have been a lot fucking nicer to have it.
But even from Kristen's perspective, who she didn't read any of these books or anything, she really enjoyed this go around watching Rise of Skywalker, when you can just kind of let your nitpickiness go and just try to sit there and enjoy it as a fun ride. You can, and that's what we got out of it. You can still enjoy it as a Star Wars fan. Yes, it's got some problems. Yes, there's a lot of things you can pick apart to death. But if you just close your eyes and let it in, it's not that bad.
So smooth.
It's so small. All right. While you're doing your reads, I am going to turn on the air conditioner because you look like you're about to die.
I am.
Do me.
So while Dave is doing the Red 5 reads, you will hear some air blowing in the background.
That's fine.
Just deal with it, people. But what do you got Red 5 for us?
You know what's funny? Like, Scott brings up it's a 3-hour show. Star Wars brings out 3-hour shows. That's what happens.
Like, you go back and you watch the when we were just all things Star Wars, we would have very easily 3-hour shows every single week. It's just kind of the tangents we would get off on.
I love it.
Yeah.
J-Lo, it's too hot for J-Lo.
Yeah, no, fuck that. She's gonna take the week off because that would Dave might die live on the air if he has to like force himself to do J-Lo in this heat. So
let's see.
She gets a break.
So for Red 5 News, we're just gonna do Big Boy Radio voice for Red 5 News later on tonight at 2000, 8 p.m. Eastern, after the weekend chats about 1991 animated flick Rock-a-Doodle with guest Biggles Metz.
Are you speaking English right now? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm just doing the reads.
All right.
At 2200, 10 p.m. Eastern, WSTR Media rolls a piece of paper.
Sorry. Ooh, did I get him? Oh, I got that fucker. Yeah.
Good. Now finish the job. Finish him.
Where is he?
I don't know.
I flicked him off and I think he's gone.
No, well, there's still one flying around.
All right, well, keep reading.
WSTR Media discusses droid builder Kevin Abato. Hop in their live chats on YouTube and support our Red 5 family. The Red 5 Network now has 39 podcasts.
I'm 37?
Plus 2 and gaming branch. Browse through bio.link/red5. That's bio.link/red5. And bio.link/red5gaming. Check out daily promos or shoot Lunar Girl a DM on any of our socials. She can suggest something you'll absolutely love that is perfect for you. Cantina Family Happenings. The Used and Abused Pod will be powwowing tomorrow at 1700, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with special guest Hannah. Join Scott and Kim in our live chat on YouTube and enjoy. On Wednesday, the ATSW Escape Pod's topic will be It's Finally Happening! As long as no one is sick and there are no storms to knock out the internet.
Yeah, they've been having a string of bad luck lately.
Yeah, join Dylan Snooch, Brady Big Lovin', and Dragon Buddy in their live chat at 19:05, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on YouTube. Layman's Terms released stand by. Layman's Terms released My Take on Post Malone Magic Contest. Be sure to subscribe, ding that bell, and select all to receive notifications for your source of ignorance and drunken banter.
I like ignorance.
And watch him get drunk in his basement. The Orange and Fett Show released episode 43, Superman Red Sun. I don't know why I said it like that. Superman Red Sun. This past weekend. Subscribe to them on Spotify and be notified of upcoming releases. Big Sweet is finally on the verge of a very huge thing, and Lunar Girl can vouch for this. Glue yourself to his updates at Sweet Studios on Discord and Instagram, and subscribe to Sweet Studios on YouTube. Dundell Snooch and Lunar Girl have started a new podcast. They're discussing the Netflix series Stranger Things.
Is it really new anymore?
Episode by episode, as neither of them have seen it before. Check out episodes 1 through 4 of Stranger Things Has Happened on YouTube and give them a sub.
Once you get up to episode 10, it's not new anymore.
Fucking Stranger Things. This whole Metallica thing's got me so fucking irritated. It's not the show's fault. Lunar Girl has been... Stand by. Luna Girl has been hitting the gaming scene. She is a recurring guest Friday nights at 2200, 10 p.m. Eastern on a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, The Red 5 Tavern. She plays Kalisha, the Moon Elf, paints her lips blue, and even wears elf ears. Check it out and see where this week's adventure takes her. She also still gets Sithy streaming Star Wars The Old Republic, but has moved to Sunday evenings at 1800, 6 p.m. Eastern on Red 5 Network Gaming on YouTube and Twitch. Tune in to see her and General Shinobi's shenanigans as Bravo and a Mandalorian try and steer them into the right direction. There will be clam slams.
Okay.
What are they talking about? Oh, they can't hear the AC.
Oh.
We can definitely hear it through our headphones, for
See.
sure. 3PO. You can find us at bio.link/the Sidebar Cantina, where you will find our links to YouTube, audio, Patreon, and our latest Spotify music mixtape, and all social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Discord, and TikTok. Also in our bio link is our TeePublic merch shop. We have t-shirts and hoodies in a wide variety of designs, sizes, and colors. There are Sidebar Cantina face masks, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers, and pins. Just about anything you can imagine. Please tag us with your merch so Luna Girl can share it on the socials. Reviews! Please write us a 5-star review on Apple. Don't have an Apple account? Our Facebook page has a review feature too. Just screenshot it before you hit done and DM us the pic on Instagram or Twitter. Tell us what you love or even hate about the show. Jennifer Lopez or... Did Jennifer Lopez in the
Jennifer Lopez.
or Hank or Edith or Mama or Big Boy Radio? Well, someone fun will read your review word for word on our next episode. Plus, Luna Girl will send you swag. And that, as they say, is that.
Alrighty. Next week, we are doing said marathon discussion.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're going to kind of basically talk about a couple of situations. First of all, if we had all the free time in the world, no job, no obligation, no spouse yelling at us, telling us to get out from in front of the TV, what would our personal Star Wars marathon order be? What would we include? What would we not include? Then, if we were introducing Star Wars to a child who had never seen Star Wars, what order would we show them? Or an adult we were introducing Star Wars who had never seen it before, what would we introduce it to for them? So, 3 different scenarios. What would the marathon order be? What would we include? What would we not include? And we may have a guest if she returns my messages. So, guest TBD. Otherwise, yeah, we're talking Star Wars marathon order.
Yes.
Do we include all the Disney Plus stuff? Do we include all the animated stuff? Tune in to find out. And that is that. Oh, and in 2 weeks, 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
it's the music of
94.
94. So we're finally getting to the music of 94 in 2 weeks. Luna Girl is going to be, hitting everybody up for their playlist entries. And, yeah, we're going to get back to it. Should be a fun discussion. It was a very interesting year for music.
It was.
Very interesting. For me personally and for the greater music industry. Yeah. Lots going on.
Year I graduated high school.
Yeah. And you know what I completely forgot about? We were talking about Woodstock 99 at work today and the shit show that was.
Woodstock 94.
But yeah, Woodstock 94 we had in 94 and 94.
94.
And yeah, that was a hell of a show. So lots to talk about, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yes.
So
hopefully it won't be a billion fucking degrees.
Yeah, let's hope not. All right. Well, thank you everybody who's still on the YouTube. This was a 3-hour show. A 3-hour show.
3-hour show.
And it was worth it.
Yes.
So
Hail Star Wars.
Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you tune in next week. And until then, Dave and everybody else, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
That was terrible. Hold on, one more time. Hold on the bottom. There you go.
Okay, now what do I click?
Splat ow. All right. We're not doing an after show.
No,
it's
but
late.
we have to discuss fantasy football at some point.
Fuck, that's
Yes.
right. The preseason already started, didn't it?
Yes.
So we got to like draft in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Wheaton.
I think more of the 2 weeks from Total Recall. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah. So, but yeah, fuck, we got to do it.
Yep.
And again,
We gotta get-
patrons get first pick.
That's right. So we'll make it a point next episode to
Stress that, yeah.
to talk.
And fuck, we should probably
drafting.
start pushing it out on like social media and stuff ahead of time.
Probably.
And we'll draft like after the preseason, like
Yeah.
night or two before the regular season starts.
Yeah, probably.
So-
I'm in the middle of doing our work drafts, and I just did a couple other ones.
Yeah.
So it's like it's that time.
Well, yeah, and for the pod, we've always drafted like right before the season starts.
Yeah, I
so-
like me personally. I like to draft like as close to the beginning of the season as possible. So
Yeah.
all the injuries and all the other shit has worked itself out.
Yep, indeed. All right, cool. Well, more to follow on that.
Bye everyone. Thanks for watching me sweat.
Yeah, we love you. Peace.